Info with Marcia Teele, Tuesdays at 5 p.m.
Talk 1470 AM and 95.3 FM WNN.
Everyone knows about kids who are bullied, but what about the bullies?
We grow up, only now it's hazing and cyberbullying. We're more likely to use drugs and alcohol and don't do as well in school. And after we graduate,
we get jobs, but we're going to have more traffic violations and criminal convictions. And since we're more likely to be abusive to our spouses, maybe we're teaching our kids to be just like us.
Early intervention helps us all, even the bullies.
This station is part of the Beasley Best Community of Caring. For more information on how to stop bullying, visit our website.
Over 200,000 people have found a way to work from home. Find out what they're doing and how they're doing it at Online Trading Academy. Online Trading Academy is the leader in investment education. They teach the right way to trade stocks, options, futures, and Forex. You're taught by pro traders who are certified, currently trade, and are profitable. They show you what they do every day. How to find the right stocks, how money is made in up, sideways, and down markets, how professionals time the market, and how to limit the risk on each and every trade. So if you're at the point where you want to start working from home, do what over 200,000 students have done. Take our free half-day class to see what it's like. Call now to reserve a pair of seats at Online Trading Academy in Broward and Palm Beach. Online Trading Academy, the leader in investment education. Call 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800.
Talk health. Talk wealth. Talk politics. Talk 1470 and 95.3 FM WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Are you a family caregiver? Are you caregiving for someone who can no longer take care of themselves? Are you overwhelmed? This is Caregiver Solutions Info with Marcia Teele. Marcia will be hosting an hour of true stories and information, tips and updates of the latest research and necessary information in the caregiving field, focusing on you, the family caregiver. An Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert, Marcia has 15 years of hands-on experience at Arden Courts, a leader in assisted living dementia communities here in the U.S. Marcia covers everything you need to know as a family caregiver, especially if you care for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease or other related dementia or chronic illness. If you have a friend or relative that is also a family caregiver, call them now. They won't want to miss a minute. And let them know they can watch on caregiversolutions.info. And they can listen on WNN 1470 AM in South Florida or nationally on the iHeartRadio app. Now, sit back, relax, and learn from our host, Marcia Teele, as she brings information to you that may just be the caregiving solution you need.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Caregiver Solutions Info Show. I'm happy that you could join us amidst all the holiday preparations. Things are really busy this time of year, and I'm so glad that you took the time to tune in. We have another wonderful show for you today. Caregiving is hard. No doubt you know that if you're a caregiver, if you're caring for someone who can't care for themselves, especially a person with dementia or Alzheimer's, and it is not easy. There are some resources. There's lots of resources if you know where to look, and this is another resource for you so that you don't have to leave the comfort of your home, and you could check us out on your laptop, your computer, or even your smartphone at www.caregiversolutions.info or here locally in South Florida on WNN 1470 and 95.3 FM. We are live from Boca Raton, Florida, and I'm happy to say we are in our third year of bringing the show to you, to caregivers. And we bring lots of information, some advice, some counseling, and some tips for making your caregiving task just a little bit easier. So hopefully you'll learn something today. Every day is different. Every week, every show is different. And we have lots more to bring to you in the new year. So today we're going to be talking about family caregiving and involving the whole family. According to AARP, there are 39.8 million unpaid family caregivers giving care to another adult in the United States within the past 12 months. Those figures are within about a year old, the past 12 months. That's a lot of care being given. And so we know that it's important to reach out. This is the season for sharing and caring. And so I hope that as the season goes on and progress, that your days of caregiving will be better. And I guess the message, too, is hope. Last week we talked about hope, and there is hope. And don't be discouraged. If you are, we're going to be giving some resources at the end of the show, some telephone numbers that you can call to reach out if you feel hopeless and if you need more help. So my guests today are all the way from Ohio. It's a family. The whole family will be joining us, and the whole family is involved in caregiving and caring for elderly parents. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce them to you now. We have Jennifer and Steve from Ohio. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Good to be here.
Well, I know that you all have watched the show and you're aware of it and you know it's about caregiving. And now all of a sudden, in the last several years, you have found yourselves being in the throes of caregiving. So thank you for coming today to share with us all of this, because I think your story is pretty unique in the fact that although we've had caregivers on that are spouses, caregivers that are adult children, caregivers that might be grandchildren, or other caregivers that, might be even a friend, we've never had a whole family. And I think this is pretty unique because your whole family, the adult children, which are you, and the grandchildren of the elderly, the grandparents, all chip in, and we're going to talk about that. But let's go ahead and find out what your situation is. So, Steve, this discussion is about your parents, right?
Correct.
Okay, and how old are your parents?
So my dad's 91, was a World War II vet, and my mom's 90.
Wow, 90 and 91. Well, they've had a good long life.
They've been blessed.
And yes, and they're still going, and with your help. But what is their physical and mental condition right now?
So my dad has had Parkinson's for the last 5-7 years. He's had symptoms, so he needs a stroller to get around the house. Fortunately, he built a house in 1962. It was a ranch, so that's fairly easy to do. His mind is very sharp, but with the Parkinson's, he has difficulty talking and walking. So that's my dad, and my mom has beginnings of dementia. She has arthritis, so she's actually more mobile than he is. But with her mental condition, she forgets and is hard of hearing, so sometimes it's hard to communicate. The two, they make it work.
They make it work, the two of them. So your dad then became the primary caregiver for your mother when she started having these issues with her memory, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And in your view, how do you think he's handling that?
As best he can. I mean, he's very willing, and he's just a devoted husband and just a great guy. That's all I can say. So he's just taken that on head first.
Yeah. Do you ever see in any time at all any frustration or anger on his part because of the situation that he's been thrown into?
There was one instance where my mom couldn't hear what he was saying. With the Parkinson's, he was stuttering. He finally got it out, and my mom said, "What did you say?" And so that was one very, very frustrating moment that I'm sure happens more than just that time. But
Sure, yeah. So, well, that is very difficult because they both have, a condition that makes it difficult for them to communicate and, put together. And so you're right, I'm sure they're doing the best that they can. And Jennifer, how close do you all live to Steve's parents?
We're about 15 minutes away, so it's not far, but in the busyness of activities and sports and all of that, we have to make a concerted effort to get over there. Okay.
So you all live out in a country? Are you in a city? What is like in Ohio?
Suburban
area. Okay. So you have some resources as far as, close by stores and things like that.
Right.
So it's okay. So that's good. We talked to some caregivers that are far, far away that unfortunately don't have a lot of resources where they live. So it makes it even that much difficult for them. Now, Steve, how many siblings do you have?
So it's just my brother and I, and he's 4 years older, and he has 2 girls as well. They live out of town, so that they can't see my parents nearly as often. But my brother and his wife are very helpful as well and involved. Okay, and how close does your brother and his wife live to your parents? They live about 15 minutes away as well. So my parents kind of live right between us. Okay, well that makes it convenient. It is. It works. Yeah, it works well. That's really, really good. So, Steve, when, if you can recall, did you first notice, or anybody first notice in the family, that your mother was having some memory issues, or maybe it was behavioral changes first before you noticed the memory? How did that happen? We would have family conversations at their house, and she would be very quiet, and you just kind of notice that, and we would talk about one topic, move on to another, and then she would ask us a question about the previous topic. So we're like, either she's not remembering or not hearing, or a little bit of both. So that's kind of when we realized that, and I would say maybe 5-7 years ago. Mm-hmm. Something like that. And then it got progressively worse? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And unfortunately, we can't find any hearing aids that are comfortable for her to wear, so that's been difficult. Yeah, that seems to be an issue. Sometimes that's pretty common because there's lots of different kinds of hearing aids, but they're not all for everybody. And a lot of them have the feedback, and a lot of them just aren't comfortable, like you said, and the patient doesn't want to keep them in. So you can spend a lot of money on some top quality hearing aids, but they don't do any good if they're taking them out. And sometimes they even take them out and wad them up in a tissue and throw them away. I've had some people tell me that also, so that's pretty discouraging, you know. Yeah. Yeah. So when your mother started having these difficulties with her memory, was your dad already showing signs of his Parkinson's at that time? Yes. Yes. Okay. It wasn't obviously as bad as it is now, but he was having trouble speaking and walking as well. Oh, he was. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like before your mom started having her cognitive issues, she almost was the caregiver for your dad in a lot of ways. Yes. Doing things for him. Actually, the primary caregiver kind of ping-ponged from one to the other as time went on. Right. So you can see the shift as the needs changed. Mm-hmm. When did you feel, or you or your brother feel, that perhaps things weren't going well enough in the home, that maybe you needed to, as a family, talk about making some changes or getting some other help? Do you recall a conversation that you may have had with your family? Yes. So one of the things was getting my mom a bath, and she just wanted her hair washed, and we didn't feel comfortable, and she didn't feel comfortable getting in the tub herself and being able to do that. So for a while, Jennifer was able to do that and get over there, and then we realized that really isn't working. So we needed to get another person in there once a week at least to help with whatever she needed specifically. Okay. Jennifer, why was it not working? Why do you think?
Well, I was off in the summer. I'm a school teacher, and so in the summer I have a lot more free time. So in the summer, this past summer was when I really started helping with baths and that kind of thing. Because up to that point, Grandma could do it, but she's frail. Her rheumatoid arthritis, she has a frozen shoulder, and so she has a lot of physical limitations as far as getting in and out of the tub and those kind of things. And Steve's dad's quite stubborn in that he didn't want to remodel anything, because the boys both offered to remodel, let's make this work, and Grandpa was like, I don't think so. So, we were had some limitations that way. Yeah, plus then after the summer you had to go back to your job. And once I'm back teaching, it's like, no time. Right, exactly. That
plus you have 3 kids at home. Right. So, kind of crazy. So your dad's kind of macho, huh?
Yes.
That makes it extra hard when you're trying to reason with somebody about caregiving issues.
So we offered, so they go downstairs to do their laundry, and we said we could take one of the back bedrooms, bring the washer and dryer up, and replumb it, so you don't have to go downstairs to do that.
In the basement.
In the basement, and he looked at both of us and said, "I'll let you know when I want you to do that." And that was a clear sign, I'm not ready for any big changes yet. So my brother and I, we kind of want to abide by his wishes thus far, as much as possible, which makes sense. So.
Yeah.
That's where we are today.
Okay, so he rules the roost, and you have to tread lightly sometimes, right?
Right. And there are some things where we tell him, Dad, this is, whatever it is, this has to change. You can't do that anymore. And most of the time, he's very, acknowledges it.
Acknowledges it.
Kind of maybe reluctantly a little bit. But then he realizes maybe these guys are right, and so.
Yeah, so he'll acknowledge it, but maybe not jump on the bandwagon right away.
Right.
Yeah, take some time to mull it over. Yeah.
He needs to process it.
Yeah.
Because his mind's perfect.
So he's really sharp.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and he shows it. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we've set the groundwork. This family in Ohio with parents that have cognitive issues and physical issues. And we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Jennifer and Steve are going to be really sharing some of the hardships and some of the real difficulties as time goes on. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Hi, I'm Michael.
Being unable to recognize the obvious often occurs with Alzheimer's or related dementias, even among their caregivers. When the time comes for you to decide that someone you love needs more help than you can give, will you be able to recognize it? Don't wait for a crisis to make the decision for you. Talk to Arden Courts. Memory care is all we do. We know, we understand, we can help. To learn more, visit arden-courts.com. Arden Courts follows equal housing opportunity guidelines.
Dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Hi, and welcome back. My guest today is Jennifer and Steve, and they live in Ohio taking care of Steve's elderly parents. Mom was diagnosed with dementia, probably of the Alzheimer's type. They're not quite sure what kind and at this point. And also, Jennifer, as the daughter-in-law, helps take care of them, and their 3 children help take care of Steve's parents. So we're talking about this because they worked it out, and it is a family affair. So it's just going to be a great story for others, perhaps in similar situations, how you can manage, and maybe you'll see yourself in their story. So, guys, we're talking about your parents, and, we set the stage, and now you all did it for a long time, helping them out, and then you finally got, some home health in there. Was your dad receptive to having a stranger come into the house, Steve?
No, not at all.
No. So what kind of fight did he give you?
It was, we just had to explain to him this is for Mom's best interest. So she needed therapy. So first of all, it was getting him to have a at-home nurse come in to do the physicals and just do the medication and stuff. And that took a 0-degree day of getting him to the doctor's office. we're sitting in the waiting room, and I said, Dad, what do you think about having the doctor come to the house? And he goes, maybe that's a good idea. So it was cold enough to start him thinking about that.
Good. Now, before the home health came in, Jennifer, you were telling me during the commercial break that the medication administration for Steve's mom was becoming a nightmare. Why? Why was that so difficult? What was she doing?
She would forget what day of the week it was. So the boys, I call them, my brother-in-law and Steve, they ended up getting a clock, a big giant digital clock, very large, that had the date and the time, and set up all the pill boxes. Would go every Saturday to set up the pill boxes and put, okay, this one's at this day, this one's the different 3 times a day that she had to take her meds. But invariably with her rheumatoid arthritis and her her fingers are not working quite well, she would she'd open up the wrong one even though the clock's up there, and pills would get spilled. She'd forget which one she'd already taken. She would take them out, put them in another little bowl to help her take them, and then forget, and then go get the other one. So medication, we were seeing that was getting messed up.
Yeah, even though you tried to set it up for her to be convenient, and I know you even called her on the telephone and would remind her, don't forget to take your pills.
Right.
But, a person with dementia can't remember, and they get very confused, and they start mixing things up and moving things around, and it becomes, like you said, it was a nightmare.
Right.
And so now with the home health in there, at least they're the ones, helping to regulate, that medication. So that's really good. Then there becomes an issue that Mom had a car, right? And she loved her car, and she loved to drive her car, but now it comes to a point where she's not safe to drive. How did that situation get resolved?
Fortunately, she came to her own conclusion. She took the car out to get her hair done or something. I forget what the errand was, and she ran into the building. She put it in drive and wanted to go in reverse, and she hit the building. Didn't damage anything, but at that point it scared her enough. She came home and said, I shouldn't be driving anymore. So we didn't hesitate to take those keys and get that car out of there as quickly so she wouldn't think about it anymore.
Yeah, so you were lucky that way because that can be such a major issue with someone losing their independence. Taking those car keys away is like, don't take my life, that's my whole life there.
And she didn't travel much anyhow. She went to McDonald's and had coffee with the ladies and that kind of thing. But when it was time for him, because he still drove then some, even with his Parkinson's, but we were all talking, he probably shouldn't be driving. But then our middle child, our daughter, needed a car, and because she was heading off to college and with high school and stuff, and she needed a car. And so it was sort of like, hey, Grandpa, Aubrey's in need of a car. And so it was just kind of perfect. Like, it was a way to just make that transition.
Yeah, not so hard.
Without taking his dignity, but, and
that he's giving to his grandchild. So that all worked out really well for you, because that can just be, a very difficult situation. But speaking of the children, you have 3 children, and when you all were, as a family, starting to care for your parents at home, you involved the children. So, Jennifer, tell me about that. Tell me, why it was important for you and Steve to have the children involved, and in what capacity?
Well, ever since, the kids have been little, they've gone over there, and we've had, Grandma and Grandpa would babysit while I'd run errands and whatnot. And so we've just tried to teach them family is everything. A family is family is just everything. And so even when they were little, let's go out and pick up sticks. Grandpa's going to mow. Let's go pick up sticks. So we go pick up sticks and get them out of the yard.
Even when they were little bitty things.
Little, yeah. And, just to help. Grandma was doing laundry, then, okay, you can fold the washcloths, help Grandma out. And so when it came time when we were noticing that, they needed some extra help, before the kids were driving, we'd go over and it would just be like, okay, I'm going to get our groceries. You take another cart, you go get Grandpa's. Here's their list, And so it sort of became one of those, just helping, like when Aubrey got the car, then obviously they didn't have a car. So it was like, okay, well, who's going to do our grocery shopping? I'm like, well, Aubrey can, because now she's driving. And it was kind of like a payback, like you let us have the car, and now she's helping you with what you need.
Right.
So
they learned this from a very young age of helping their grandparents, and grew up, providing that care. So was it very difficult as they got older and became teenagers to continue that?
Just in that they had their own things they were doing. They're both varsity soccer players and, involved in track and ski club and showing horses in 4-H. So, I mean, there was these other things, plus school, of course. So that part made it, they just learned how to schedule their time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and, but it was never anything. It was just like, it's my grandma and grandpa. Of course we go do that.
So they didn't really balk at it. They just had to figure out how to fit it in.
Yeah.
Right. And they're seeing grandma and grandpa deteriorate as well. And,
right.
And the understanding was clear to them, we need to help them, and they need the help, and it'd rather be us than anybody else.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really good because, it's a family unit. Alzheimer's, affects a lot of people, not just the person
right.
that's stricken, with it. And, a lot of people right now know family that have been involved and been dealt this hand.
Right.
And if you haven't, then you may know a neighbor or a friend or a distant family relative, be it is something that affects a lot of people, and it does affect the family as a unit, that it's all involved. Now, of course, there are some families that I know that, kind of stick their head in the sand and don't want to acknowledge it and don't want to, even attempt to be a part of the solution. But fortunately, I think that more families are like yours where they come together and they step up to the plate and do that.
Yeah, and I can't say enough about my brother and I. We're close. We see a lot of things eye to eye. He takes the
financial
bull by the horn and just in many things. So we really tag team it well, and I can't say enough about that.
So you and your brother have no discord about how things should go? You don't disagree on decision making or things that are for your parents, or you work it all out? I mean, a lot of families have these arguments that one's doing the finances and one's doing, the care, and sometimes they don't see eye to eye.
No, we don't. So my brother has been taking on the financial aspect of it, which is a great blessing for me, and then with me and the kids and Jennifer and Gail as well, they pitch in and do the other stuff.
That's great. So
we all just sort
good.
of played into our strengths. And my sister-in-law, she's fabulous. Her kids are, older than ours, so that's why it's been. They've had a little more free time, so they've been a little more, involved in that. But, we've all just played into whatever our strengths are and gone with it.
Great.
So.
Yeah, and if somebody's out of town for a week or two, you have the other half of the family to kick in, and you don't feel captive to caring for the parents. That's a great advantage.
So I guess your brother and his wife are the caregivers now, since you're on vacation in Florida, right?
We definitely plan vacations around each other. Like, if they knew we were going to be gone, then they're like, okay, we're home, but we're going to be gone here, and we're home.
So you work out the calendar to make it work. Now, Steve, as your parents are getting older and they're 90, 91, how does that make you feel about, you're the next generation coming and you see them deteriorating, and what do you think about that? How does it make you feel as the next generation coming up? Do you think about your own immortality?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm blessed. I have two parents that are 90 and 91. A lot of people don't have that. So I just count those blessings, and every time we see them and we have them for a holiday or a birthday, you realize it might be your last birthday and it might be theirs, and that's the way you look at life.
That's true. We never know, any of us, right, when it's time to go. So one of the things that it's important for people, at any age, but especially as they get older, is to have the necessary legal documents in place so that if they become incapacitated, that someone can step in and make those hard decisions and care for them. So was your mother and father prepared for this event by already having durable power of attorneys in place and living wills and such that healthcare surrogate, to make medical, did they already have that, or was that something that you had to discuss and get done?
Fortunately, my brother took that and about 7 years ago put that together, and we got together and signed all the documents and went over how that works. So we had a professional obviously draw that up, but fortunately, again, we've had that in place.
That's good. Again, a lot of families wait too long. They don't get it. They don't, get it when they can get it. So that's good. So sometimes that can also be a power struggle with parents giving power of attorney to their adult children because they don't want to give it up. And so since you said your dad was a little stubborn, I was wondering, if he had maybe said, no, I'm not ready to do that yet.
And he's confident that we have his best interest out. And once you get over that hurdle, I think things become a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. Well, you had a good relationship with your parents. That certainly helps, obviously. A lot of families, are not in such good accord, and it really can cause some messes and some legal issues, and if they wait too long, it even gets worse. So that's a really good thing. So as time progressed and Mom's home and Dad's caring for her the best he can with your help, with the family's help, and with the home health person, something changed in the situation where Mom couldn't stay at home anymore. What happened?
So we had a at-home health professional come and take basically a checkup, and things were not looking right. Her blood pressure dropped, so she went in the hospital, and she really digressed severely as far as her memory and her physical well-being. And so they admitted her to the hospital, and about a week after that, she was they said she would need round-the-clock care. So with my dad at home, we knew that wasn't a good option, and so we ended up putting her in a nursing home.
Yeah, that must have been difficult for especially your dad and the rest of the family, but how did he take that?
Initially, we said we viewed it as temporary, right? And so we said, well, she needs to get a lot stronger, be able to go to the restroom herself and take care of herself before we would even consider her coming home. And so we went, within days of being in the nursing home, we just saw her really bounce back.
She did.
So quickly. It was amazing.
Really?
Yeah, and I think it's a combination of getting the right meds at the right time, eating well.
Yeah, and you mentioned eating well. Your dad did the best he could, but what did he fix? What was his favorite food, and what did their diet mostly consist of?
He'd take a package of hot dogs and boil them and just eat them with a fork out of the pan. And he has all this food in the refrigerator just ready to heat up. And I said, why aren't you cooking this stuff? I know you like it. That's why we got it for you. He says, I don't know. This is easier. So I couldn't understand that, but that's my dad.
Because I know, Jennifer, you would make meals and package them and label them and take them and put them in the refrigerator.
Right, and we put them in dinner-size portions for both of them. My sister-in-law would cook all the time, too. And then we'd get Stouffer's and, the different frozen ones, and then the grocery mix.
And it was too hard
stuff.
for him to heat those up? Or why do you think that he preferred just to cook the hot dogs and... I mean, that's what he served Mom, too. It was just a boiled hot dog and no...
If she would eat it.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Sometimes I'm sure she didn't eat because she was getting very frail.
She was losing weight.
She was drinking just a lot of Ensure and, those...
Okay, so her nutrition was suffering. His, too, for that matter, just because, left on their own. And even though you provided all the necessary, great, wonderful food, it just...
I threw a lot of food away.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd go in and bring groceries over, and I'd be cleaning out the fridge, and it would be like... stuff that was moldy and just got stuck in the back of the fridge. So it was like, oh, this is not working.
So she did better in the nursing home. That's the good news.
Yeah.
So the medication management, the social interaction, the nutritional meals that she received, it was all good. And how is she doing now? How long has she been in the nursing home?
About a month now.
Oh, just a month. Okay. And how is she faring there as far as her emotional being? Does she realize that she's not in her home? Has she accepted where she's at?
She knows she's in a home, and I think she still has a glimmer of hope she might be returning home. But we kind of downplay that because I don't see that happening successfully. But with the social interaction and just the environment, it's a great facility. So we can't say enough about that.
Was it hard to find a great facility up in Ohio?
Yes.
Yeah. It was?
Yes.
How difficult was it?
So when she went in the hospital, we started looking and fortunately, we had somebody who was able to find this place and get an opening, get a bed opening, and that was pretty difficult, as I understand it.
It's hard to get into the good places if when you need to. So you looked and searched and finally found.
Yeah, and we knew some places not to go because I had an aunt that was in a nursing home for rehab, and the food was terrible. It was like I wouldn't eat that, and she's like begging me, please stop at Dairy Queen and bring me something to eat, because she couldn't eat the prepackaged stuff that they were serving. Where like you said, the good places are hard to get into, and I saw what my mother-in-law was eating, and I'm like, ooh, I'd eat that.
So I'm glad that she's doing well. Jennifer, what was the hardest part for you as the daughter-in-law stepping in and caring for, I know you were a caregiver for your own mother.
Yes.
But she had cancer.
Right.
So this is a little different because you've got, a father-in-law with Parkinson's and a mother-in-law with dementia. How difficult was it for you? What was the hardest part for you?
I think just, keeping her, I don't know if it's respect, but just that whole, her, well, I ended up giving her baths. I was the first person to give her a bath and help her with the bath. So her modesty and her respect, just kind of, helping her, seeing your aged mother-in-law naked is like, okay, here we go. I'm definitely family,
So it's probably a first for you and a first for her, and you had to kind of do the little dance around the fact that, it needed to be done and you're modest.
And we just added the humor to it, just with certain things like, I'm not washing that, honey. That's yours. And even with her little frozen shoulder and just trying to keep her dignity, I guess that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And that's one where my sister-in-law was just so grateful because she would do other things, and I'm like, okay, I can clean their toenails. That doesn't gross me out too bad. So, I'd clean out grandma's toenails, and, she's like, oh, God bless you, because I can't do that. And, and that's where we really just played to our strengths.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And I'm glad you mentioned about using humor in the situation.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You have to have that sense of humor to get through some of these difficult times. And I know a lot of caregivers would say, oh, it's not funny. Well, no, it's not funny. But
but it is.
But it is if you allow yourself to relax a little bit and, be in the moment, because humor will get you through a lot of tough situations.
It will.
Yeah, and that's really good that you did. So what have you learned, Steve, through this process? Something that you didn't know before that you learned?
Just the whole process of caregiving, for one, the financial, the legal aspects, the timing, don't put it off. You just need a lot of help because I'm in IT and I work with computers and I have no exposure to any of that. So fortunately, I have a good friend who's in the healthcare business and he's informing me about a lot of things. You have to think about this, Steve, and you got to think about that, and it's why? And then he would explain it to me. And then my brother did a lot of investigation and research, and you have to bring it together. And to do that by yourself at the last moment, to do it right, would be very difficult.
Yeah, there you said it. To do it right and don't wait, right? So that's the important part. Don't wait. Get resources, get help, ask for help, get what you need to take care of it. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing your story. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to hear from the teenagers of this family caregiving in Ohio. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Do you need the advice?
Being unable to recognize the obvious often occurs with Alzheimer's or related dementias, even among their caregivers. When the time comes for you to decide that someone you love needs more help than you can give, will you be able to recognize it? Don't wait for a crisis to make the decision for you. Talk to Arden Courts. Memory care is all we do. We know, we understand, we can help. To learn more, visit arden-courts.com. Arden Courts follows equal housing opportunity guidelines. Somewhere at the corner of bewildered and confused is a lost mother, a father, a sibling, a grandparent. Wandering is a common symptom of Alzheimer's or related dementias and can often make those who care for a loved one feel just as lost. If you're looking for a place that's safe and secure, look to Arden Courts. Memory care is all we do. We know, we understand, we can help. To learn more, visit arden-courts.com. Arden Courts follows equal housing opportunity guidelines. Feelings of depression, isolation, and frustration are common among persons living with Alzheimer's or related dementias. It's common among those who care for them, too.
Question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Hi, and welcome back to Caregiver Solutions. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our national sponsor, Arden Courts Memory Care Communities. Arden Courts has approximately 50 assisted livings for memory care across the United States, and 10 of them are here in Florida. Arden Courts is a wonderful community because memory care is all they do, and they've been doing memory care for over 20 years. One of the things that Arden Courts is good at, besides caring for the person with memory loss, is helping the caregivers themselves, the family caregivers. They know that it's hard, and they're there to help. But caregivers need resources. So if you're a caregiver, they'd like to offer this book to you. It is free of charge, and it's called The 36-Hour Day Book. It's written by Dr. Peter Rabins and Nancy Mace, and this is a wonderful resource. It talks about the definitions of dementia, Alzheimer's, the different kinds of dementia like vascular, explains the difference. It also has a lot of great information on caregiving and a lot of tips for you as caregivers. If you would like this book, and I highly recommend it, all you have to do is call Arden Courts on their toll-free number and say that you heard about this offer on the Caregiver Solutions Info Show, and they'll be happy to get your name and address and mail a copy to you. So get a pen and write this down. The number is 888-478-2410. Again, 888-478-2410. So we're continuing with our conversation today about caregiving as a family. And you see my younger guest over here. We have Aubrey and Ben. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
So you're on vacation from Ohio.
Yes, we are.
How do you loving Florida?
Oh, love it. Love the water.
It's warm.
It's warm. You went to the beach today.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Can't do that in December.
No, you not.
Okay. Let's push the microphone closer to you, Ben, and get up there to your mouth real close so everybody can hear you real close.
Yep.
So you heard your parents talking about your grandparents, and we're talking about helping grandparents. And your parents told me that as young children, little guys, that you were always helping your grandparents, picking up sticks out of the yard and folding laundry and helping them. But as you got older, things changed. So you were still involved in the caregiving process. How were you involved? Aubrey, how were you involved?
Yeah, I was probably the first grandchild to really step it up. I, like my mom said, I got my grandpa's car when I first got my license. So then I took on the responsibility of getting their groceries every week. And then Ben would come with me and mow the lawn while I got the groceries and did some of the housework for them, a lot of chores. So.
Mm-hmm. And so how did you fit that in with school? Because you're at this point, you were in high school at this point?
I was a sophomore in high school when I first started, and so I did it through sophomore year, junior year, and senior year. And then when I left for college, Ben took over, and he would do all of the chores and housework, mostly by himself. Sometimes my parents would help him out, but he would do a lot of that. So we would just go usually right after school, about 3 in the afternoon, spend a couple hours there, and then go back home and do homework or sports or whatever we had to do.
How many times a week did you go?
Typically just once. We could get most of the work done in just one day, but sometimes twice a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And when you went to do the chores, were you able to visit with your grandparents at the same time and spend some time with them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I know you're close to your grandparents, and I know that your whole family is very close with the family ties.
Yeah.
So did you ever feel like, I don't want to go, I'm too busy to go, I wish somebody else would do it? Did you ever feel like that sometimes with everything that was thrown upon you in your lives with school and your extracurricular activities? Did you ever feel put upon?
Towards the end, when I finished doing it, so my senior year, it was getting really hectic just with school, and sometimes I was feeling I can't do it all for them, and they need actual medical help. Like my mom said, Grandma needed help getting a bath. Grandpa needed help with his medicines, and so did my grandma. So I didn't know if I could still be that person for them. They needed professional help.
Yeah, so you didn't really feel comfortable as a senior in high school, even stepping in and doing that hands-on care because you're not trained, right?
Yeah, but never resentful. We grew up and we love our grandparents, so it was an honor and a blessing to be able to care for them.
Well, that's great. So you were telling me yesterday, we had a chance to chat for a moment. You were telling me yesterday about going and doing the grocery shopping, and that Ben would tag along because he had to learn how to do that. So how did that experience go?
Oh, well, Ben and I would go grocery shopping. And, you know, Ben, as a high school kid, he doesn't want to go grocery shopping with his older sister.
How many years between the two of you?
2.
2 years.
Yep.
Okay.
So I would ask him to go get things, and then he would go hide from me in the grocery store.
We had 2 different styles of grocery shopping, I'd like to point out, but...
Our styles differ a little bit, but we were able to have fun with it most of the time. So, but through that experience, Ben learned what groceries and what type of brands our grandparents liked. So it was good, but
important though for him to learn that because, like you said, you're gone off to college now,
right?
You know, and you're in your second year of college, and so now everything falls to you, Ben, for everything as the youngest child in the family. So tell me how that is and some of the things that you're doing and what you find most difficult or the hardest thing that you find caring for elderly grandparents.
So like right now, I have like 2 other jobs as well. So I made a chart of like every day of the week, and then I would put like when I was working at the 2 other jobs, and then on Friday afternoons before like the football games or the basketball games, now I would set aside like a couple hours so I could go over to my grandparents' house and get their groceries and mow their lawn. Or now in Ohio, shovel their driveway.
Snow.
Yeah. So I would say like I would always just put like aside time, so I would always know like that was Grandma and Grandpa's time, you know, so I wasn't, like, thinking, like, oh, I have to be somewhere else or anything, because it'd be, like, I have to go with my grandparents, so, like, I can't, like, hang out or, like, I may be a couple minutes late to practice if we had, like, a Friday practice or whatnot, but...
So you're very disciplined, it sounds like, and very organized.
Oh, I came up with a system after a while, because I knew I was like, do I really want to go over there tonight? I'll do it tomorrow night, and then I was like, well, I need to have a system so I can... keep like a regular schedule with them, I guess.
You know what? That's really smart, and congratulations to you for figuring that out. How old are you now?
17.
You're 17 years old, and helping to care for your grandparents. And, you know, having a schedule when you're helping someone that needs care, especially someone with dementia like your grandmother, consistency is very important, and they look forward to certain things at certain times, and it helps them not to be so anxious about when are they coming and what day is it and they're supposed to be here but they're not and what time, and by having that consistency with a schedule like that, it helps them too. I don't know if you realize that or not.
Yeah. Well, I would see like my grandma for the most part, she would like wonder what day it was, but when I would always come on that Friday after school, I could kind of tell that this is Friday because Ben's here, you know? So she'd be like, when she'd see me, she would know it was Friday. So I think that helped, like you said.
Yeah, so it let them have a little more peaceful, you know, transition into the different things that were happening for them, that they knew what was happening, because when they know what's happening, it helps them to just get along better in their day-to-day activities. So that's really good. So now you're in college and you're taking care, and now Grandma's in the nursing home. And do you get much chance to go visit her in the nursing home?
I would say
I'd say like once a week, because it is like 40 minutes away.
Okay.
And I'm so busy with like high school, and then soccer just ended, but ski club is coming up and all that. So not as much as I would like, but we try to get out there.
Yeah, it's a little harder when you have to travel further, and as a lot of caregivers know, you know, it's just by your parents finding the best place for your grandmother. It might not be the closest place.
Yeah.
Okay, just for convenience for the family, but it's the best place for her, which is a great decision, and so you make that effort. But you've learned as a young man, you know, the cleaning, the laundry, you know, the shopping, the doing the lawn. You've learned a lot. So I'm going to ask both of you to answer this next question. What have you learned through this process? Something that, how has it impacted you or your life in any way? So Ben?
I'll go first, I guess. Well, I know how to keep the up maintenance on a lawnmower now. And, I mean, really, I guess, like, get to know my grandpa, like, more. You know, since I'm always there. Like, when we were kids, you know, they play with us, but we don't have, like, conversations, you know? So I really get to, like, talk about his, like, childhood and, like, the bringing up of my dad and my uncle. So that's, like, really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Spend quality time with them. Yeah, what about you, Aubrey? What have you learned?
Yeah, I would have to agree. A couple years ago when they first started having problems, my grandma would still be able to help, not as much as she probably would have liked to with her arthritis, but we would change the beds together and go through the fridge and see what they needed and all of that. But like Ben said, we got to have conversations kind of about her life and her dreams and what she's gotten to do and what she loves about the family, and just kind of talk and have conversations. So that's been awesome.
Yeah, that is great. Yeah. And I know, Ben, yesterday when we had a chance to talk, you made a cute little remark saying, when I said, you know, how has this been for you and what have you learned? You did mention that something about you better be nice to your parents better be nice to you. If what was that you said?
That they better be nice, or else I might ship them off to the nursing home, like when they're real young. But it was just a joke, you know.
Right. Well, you know, but people do joke about that. But it is true, because you guys have such a cohesiveness that it really works for your family, very loving family. So I thank you for participating in their lives and for being here and sharing your story. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll finish up in a few minutes.
Wandering is a common problem for people with Alzheimer's or related dementias. It's also a problem for family members who care for them. Keeping them safe and secure means never letting your guard down. And even though deep down you know it's time, it hurts to have to ask for help. But it could hurt them even more if you didn't. We know. We understand. We can help. Arden Courts. The inability to recognize the obvious often occurs with Alzheimer's, particularly among the family members who care for them. When the time comes for you to decide that someone you love needs more help than you can give, will you be able to recognize it? Don't wait for a crisis to make the decision for you. Talk to us. We know. We understand. We can help. Arden Courts. Feelings of depression, isolation, and frustration are common among persons living with Alzheimer's or related dementias. It's common among those who care for them, too. It takes a lot of patience and courage. It also takes knowing when you can no longer do it alone. At Arden Courts, memory care is all we do. Talk to us. We know. We understand. We can help. Don't let guilt keep you from making the right decision. Visit arden-courts.com. Arden Courts follows equal housing opportunity guidelines. Being unable to recognize the obvious often occurs with Alzheimer's or related dementias, even among their caregivers. When the time comes,
CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
And we're back, and we're talking about family caregiving and involving the whole family in the caregiving process. So we've heard from the adult children, and we've heard from 2 of the grandchildren. They all live in Ohio, and they all participate in caring for their parents, their grandparents in Ohio. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you the oldest grandchild, and this is Hannah. Hi, Hannah.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You having fun on your Florida vacation?
Oh, yes. It's much more fun than Ohio.
Now, some exciting news that you have is that you recently graduated from college.
I did.
So tell me what college you went to and what your degree is in.
I went to Mount Vernon Nazarene University, and I graduated with my Bachelor of Social Work.
Very good. So why did you choose social work as a major?
It's a long story, but to shorten it, I just love people and I love helping people, and I wanted to have a career where helping people was my job, and being able to make change that is sustainable and effective.
Wonderful. So as the oldest grandchild now, Grandma is in a nursing home at this point now, and Grandpa's at home. But when they started having problems, you were pretty much ready to go off to college at that point?
It was the end of my senior year, beginning of my freshman year of college.
So you kind of were leaving the nest. So you didn't have a big involvement in the day-to-day caregiving like your sister and your brother and your parents did, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I know you just graduated, and you haven't even started your first job yet, which I understand is happening in January. But I wanted to ask you a couple questions from a social worker perspective. I mean, you are the next generation coming up. You know, this is our next generation of healthcare workers, and this has got to be an experience watching your family caring for your grandparents, and some way have an impact upon not only you but the rest of the family. So in your perspective, through your eyes, do you have maybe some comments and some observations real quick?
I think it's been really interesting how the camaraderie between my dad and his brother, they've been able to help each other out and figure out, okay, this is my kind of area that I'll take care of, and then this is the area that we'll take care of. So I think that's really unique and interesting, because I know that doesn't happen with a lot of families. I think it's brought us closer together, and there have been occasions where there's been added stress, but I do, like, we make a more conscious effort to visit them, and we get to see the other side of the family more, just because, you know, everyone's going to go visit Grandma on Saturday, we're all going to go. So it's been really, it's been sad, but it's been a really, like, beautiful thing as well to see us all come together.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you for that. I wish you so much success as you start your new job and your new career in social work, and congratulations again. I want to thank all of you for joining us this week on Caregiver Solutions Info. You can catch us next week, same time, same place, or you can watch archive shows on caregiversolutions.info. So if you want to go back and look at some of the shows that you've missed, check out the website. We're going to be back with a lot more shows first of the year, so stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, don't forget, give somebody a hug, because they need it and so do you. Happy holidays, everyone. Take care.
Thanks for joining us for this week's Caregiver Solutions with Marcia Teele. Join us next week as Marcia, who has 15 years of Alzheimer's disease and dementia care experience, brings you more needed information to help with the care of your loved one. This show can be seen again on caregiversolutions.info, and questions can be left on the site, which may be used on the program to help others. See you next week for more Caregiver Solutions. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly
Healthcare, Inc. is locally owned and operated, serving the Tri-County area, Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward counties for the last 25 years. The practice of medicine is changing dramatically. All County Healthcare, Inc. still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare Home Care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision and only your decision on what health 7027. License 200999096.
Getting older is not for sissies. That's what one of my patients says. And it's funny, but it's true. Live long enough and you'll get arthritis, skin cancer, probably one of the common chronic diseases like CHF, COPD, diabetes. At All County Healthcare, we teach you how to manage your disease. We make sure you know how to take your medications and how to recognize signs and symptoms before requiring hospitalization, no matter how many visits it takes. You didn't move to Florida to be sick. You moved here to enjoy the rest of your life. And that's exactly what our team of nurses, therapists, and aides at All County Healthcare help you do.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Amp2.tv presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Welcome. My name is Patty Villa, and I am hosting tonight for David DePino, You and Your Doctor. This show is sponsored by All County Healthcare, and you can reach them at 1-888-717-7170, and you can ask for Maddie Kaplan. If you want to follow us, you can go to our Facebook page and watch us streaming Facebook Live. And you can listen to us on 95.3 or 1470 FM. Today we have Dr. David Perloff, who is with Florida Medical Center. He is a cardiologist. Welcome, Dr. Perloff.
Thank you.
The first thing I want to start with is AFib. We see all these AFib commercials all the time on television. Some people understand what that is. Some people don't. Some people are confused. Can you tell us a little bit so we can clear up for everyone that's hearing us and watching us what AFib is all about?
Sure. Atrial fibrillation is a distinct arrhythmia. It's an abnormal rhythm that we see. It is the most common sustained arrhythmia we see. And what ends up happening is that the normal conduction pathway of the atrium is that electrical activity starts in the high right atrium and spreads across the rest of the atrium and then down into the ventricles. In atrial fibrillation, there's sort of chaotic, discoordinated activity of the atrium electrically. And so it sort of quivers and doesn't contract normally, which ends up leading to other problems associated with atrial fibrillation. So it's an irregularly irregular rhythm that often is quite a bit faster than normal as well. So it's a problem, and it makes people feel uncomfortable.
And why is AFib on the rise?
So AFib is actually a disease of the elderly, really. We do see younger folks with AFib, but for the most part, AFib is a disease that increases in its frequency exponentially as we get older, to the point where if you take just the average individual over the age of 80, 10% of them have AFib. That's how common it is. It's a very common arrhythmia. Now, we do see some people who are younger with AFib, but again, it's really a disease of the elderly. And what's happening is we've got an increasing aging population, right? So with the baby boomers now retiring and moving into an older age group, we've got this very large older population, and the fact is that we've got more people living nowadays with sicker hearts. In the old days, these people would not be able to live as long. We now have modern medical care, and we're able to keep these people living reasonably healthy. But along with that goes heart disease and heart failure and other things like that, and those diseases then predispose patients to atrial fibrillation as well.
Now, let me ask you, how does a person know they have it? Because I have a friend that's in her mid-60s, and she has told me several times that she thinks that she has AFib, even though she has not been to see a doctor.
So, that's interesting.
Just because she has, the palpitation, she has, the symptoms, and she's like, I really need to get to a doctor because I think I have AFib.
Sure.
So how does a person know maybe, the symptoms for it?
So the first thing I would tell your friend is to definitely get checked. It's almost impossible to really tell that you have atrial fibrillation, unless, of course, you're a healthcare professional, by just what you feel. In fact, I have patients who have atrial fibrillation and also have other rhythm disturbances, and we sometimes have difficulty figuring out what's actually AFib and what's not. AFib is a distinct arrhythmia, and people can get other rhythm issues as well. So the best way to find it out is to go to the doctor and actually get a monitor. We put people on 24-hour monitors. We'll put them sometimes on week-long monitors, even up to 30-day monitors. And sometimes we have even longer-term monitors that we implant that can last up to 2 years in order to catch rhythms that are difficult to catch. What most people feel when they have AFib is palpitations. They feel a sensation that their heart is beating irregularly or rapidly. And again, one of the best things to do is to get a monitor, and once I see it, I can really tell you whether it's AFib or some other arrhythmia. The interesting thing is, though, and this is kind of a little bothersome, I guess, to a lot of people, is that the majority of people who are older who get atrial fibrillation don't actually feel it. So I'll often have people come into my office for an exam. Their doctor sent them, for something different because they were maybe having chest pains or had hypertension or something else. And I will check their pulse. It will be irregular. We'll get an EKG, and they'll be in atrial fibrillation without even knowing it.
How do you treat AFib?
So AFib has really two separate and distinct issues that need to be managed. The first issue we have to manage is deciding whether we're going to do rate control or rhythm control. Okay, so let me explain what that means. Like I explained before, atrial fibrillation is a rapid rhythm, and the problem is that the ventricles are being bombarded by this very chaotic electrical activity. And so one of the things that we can do is to basically slow down the amount of impulses that can get down into the ventricles and slow down the heart rate so that it's at a normal rate. The other thing we can do is to try to get people back into a normal rhythm, what we call sinus rhythm. And that often involves cardioversion, which is usually done by electrical energy. What we do is we put the patient to sleep temporarily. We have medications that put them out for maybe, a minute or two, and then we shock them back into a normal rhythm and wake them back up, and they're fine. But then in order to keep them in that rhythm, we need to give them medications to keep the heart rhythm normal. Or we will go on to something called ablation. That's another procedure where we put a catheter or a tube into the heart and basically use electrical energy, or sometimes we use radio frequency ablation, or sometimes we use cryoablation or freezing energy. And we essentially burn out the electrical pathway that's leading to that rhythm. So that the idea here is to actually cure that rhythm so that it doesn't occur anymore. And that has it's a good procedure. It's not a perfect procedure, but it's a good procedure. So the number one question you have when you're treating AFib is, do we do rate control or do we do rhythm control? The second issue that you need to deal with is that atrial fibrillation is also associated with stroke. So if you look epidemiologically, we've known for years that people who have atrial fibrillation, what we call non-valvular atrial fibrillation, are at 5 times increased risk of stroke of the general population. And that's because when you have this chaotic electrical activity of the atrium, it doesn't pump normally. So that blood kind of sits in the left atrium and doesn't get transported well into the ventricle. So because this blood is sitting around, you can get a little clot that forms within the left atrial appendage, and that clot can break off and travel through the bloodstream up into the brain and cause stroke. Stroke is obviously devastating. It's a huge cause of disability. And so the treatment, or let me say the prevention of stroke in atrial fibrillation is really done by blood thinners. So there's some older blood thinners known as warfarin or Coumadin. And then there's newer blood thinners, what we call the direct oral anticoagulants, and we have several of those. And those are very, very active and effective medications to prevent stroke. And then the final thing is there's a new procedure out called a Watchman device, where we actually place over the left atrial appendage a little umbrella. We go into the heart, not during surgery, it's during a procedure. We go in with a catheter and feed over this umbrella device into the direct area where those clots occur, and basically exclude off that area so that it can't allow a clot out. And that's a good procedure for some people who have atrial fibrillation, but certainly not everybody. So the two questions we deal with AFib are, number one, rate control versus rhythm control, and then how we're going to accomplish that. And then the second question is, how are we going to accomplish stroke prevention?
Right. Okay. And another area that I wanted to talk to you about that I know you feel a lot of passion for is the lipid. And what is lipid, and why are cardiologists called to manage lipid?
So lipids are it's just another term for the fats that run around in our blood, that are transported in our blood. So actually the fats that are transported in our blood are two. There's cholesterol and triglycerides. Both of them are lipids. Both of them are important. And there are many types, actually, of cholesterol. There's HDL and LDL and VLDL and IDL. The reason that cardiologists kind of get involved in this is that in a separate disease process from the rhythm issues we've been talking about is what we call coronary artery disease. So coronary artery disease is blockages in the arteries that feed the heart muscle. And those blockages are devastating. It's the cause of a heart attack, and leads to the need for stents and bypass surgeries and things like that. It's one of the major things that we deal with as cardiologists. Well, the underlying physiology of how those plaques occur involves cholesterol metabolism. So most of your cholesterol, most of your lipid gets metabolized by the liver. So there's a receptor on the liver cell that the cholesterol lands on, and then it gets sucked into the liver cell and utilized in the liver. And as long as your cholesterol goes that way, it's not a problem. That's the way it's supposed to go, and everybody's happy. But and basically I might not have a job if that was the case. But unfortunately for us, there is about 10 to 15% of cholesterol goes by what's called the scavenger pathway. Scavenger pathway for cholesterol is a process by which there's damage to the vessel wall, and part of the healing process is that certain white blood cells called macrophages incorporate themselves into the vessel wall and then start eating, if you will, cholesterol.
No, and I want you to hold that thought because we have to take a short break, and you're giving us a lot of great information, and I don't want to miss anything that you have to say, and I don't want our listeners and our viewers to miss anything either. So we'll be right back.
All County Healthcare, Inc. is locally owned and operated, serving the Tri-County area, Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward counties for the last 25 years. The practice of medicine is changing dramatically. All County Healthcare, Inc. still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare Home Care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision, and only your decision, on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096.
Hi, I'm Deanna Barron, RN, with All County Healthcare. You know how I know that I've done a good job? We say goodbye. After you understand the medications you take, once you know that gaining 2 pounds in a day means you should call the doctor, when your wound is healed, when you can use your nebulizer all by yourself, when the goals that you and your all-county healthcare team of nurses, therapists, and aides established are met, we say goodbye. Very nice to meet you, and I hope I never see you again. And I mean that in the nicest way possible.
You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask, but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Hi, my name is Patty Villa, and I'm filling in for David DePino, who's off this evening. Tonight we have Dr. David Perloff from Florida Medical Center. Dr. Perloff, thank you once again for being here.
Sure.
Before we went to commercial break, we were talking about lipids and how cardiologists help to manage them. So please explain to us, how does a cardiologist help people manage the lipids?
So fortunately, we've had a lot of breakthroughs in lipid management. As I was explaining before, the process of coronary artery disease is that cholesterol gets incorporated into the vessel wall and leads to plaquing of the arteries. And this plaquing restricts blood flow to the heart, and that restriction of blood flow leads to a lot of problems. It can lead to chest discomfort, where the heart is not getting enough blood flow, and so the areas that are fed by that vessel are starved for oxygen and nutrients, and they start to hurt, and that causes chest discomfort, or what we call angina. And if the blood vessel gets completely blocked off, the heart muscle that's fed by that artery will actually die because it can't live without oxygen and nutrients. And so that leads to what's called a heart attack. So that heart muscle will die and will never be able to pump again. So it's a central process of vascular disease is cholesterol. So one of the major treatments for prevention of heart disease, and actually treatment of heart disease, is to lower the cholesterol enough so that the plaquing can't occur, or occurs at a minimum rate. And the good news is that we've got a lot of very effective cholesterol medications at this point that do exactly that. So it's not just about reducing lipids, because there are medications actually that will reduce lipids but don't prevent heart disease. It's actually about preventing events, preventing heart disease events. So I care less about cholesterol and more about reducing events, because I don't make just pretty cholesterol profiles. What I care about is reducing the likelihood that a patient is going to have a heart attack, stroke, cardiovascular death. And so we have a whole group of medications called statin medications that have been shown unquestionably to do that, to reduce heart attack, stroke, cardiovascular death. We also have ezetimibe, which is a different type of a cholesterol medication. It's actually a cholesterol absorption inhibitor, and that will reduce that. And we now have a new class of medications that are actually injectable cholesterol medications. That is a true revolution in cardiology, what we're doing now. And those are patients inject themselves like once every 2 weeks with these medications. They're highly effective, and they're great for people who can't tolerate other medications or can't get to their goal level with other standard medications. And we can get them very, very low on their cholesterol with these medications, and they're called PCSK9 inhibitors.
Now, besides the preventive, and I know that everybody's talking about that word, preventative medicine, what else do you advise your patients on, or people that you meet that ask you questions about preventative health or preventative medicine in cardiology when it comes to heart health?
So, most of the stuff that I would tell you about is really pretty well documented. Certainly smoking is one of those things that is, really very, very bad player. It increases your likelihood of heart attack. It increases your likelihood of all cancers head to toe. And I think from a preventive standpoint, if you have one single thing, and I tell this to patients all the time, if you tell me, you don't care what I say, you're only going to listen to one thing that I tell you, I would say the absolute number one thing that you need to do is to quit smoking. That is the single healthiest thing you can do for yourself. It's such a bad player in heart disease. Secondarily, I would say, there are a few things that are very important here. A lot of people come to me and think that I'm going to talk to them about their weight. I will tell you, it's very interesting. I really don't talk to people about their weight for the most part. And the reason is that if you look at the correlation between weight, or I would even go so far as to say obesity, and this even goes to the point of morbid obesity, and you plot that versus mortality or morbidity, meaning death or bad things happening, stroke and heart attack and things like that, there's really not a good correlation there, okay? So that if, in fact, there's something called the obesity paradox that a lot of people don't know about, that if you take people who have cardiovascular disease, one of whom has ideal body weight and one of whom has obesity, or even, like I said, morbid obesity, severe obesity, it turns out that the person with the obese person will actually live longer. And this is a true paradox we see in cardiology, and it's not something we've seen once or twice. It's shown in virtually every study we've ever done. What it turns out is, and let me kind of take a step back, nobody really knows why that is. There's a lot of hypothesis out there as to why this obesity paradox exists. But what I will tell you is the thing that is more correlated and that with morbidity and mortality, and the thing that I spend more time talking about in my office is actually aerobic fitness. Okay, so that's what's really important. If you look at the correlation between aerobic fitness and morbidity and mortality, it is a very direct correlation. So when somebody comes into my office, I do everything I can to assess where they're at from an aerobic standpoint, and help to educate them about the importance of aerobic activity. People ask all the time, what's the best exercise? Well, the best exercise is the one that you like, right? It's the one that you will stick with. Because if I tell you the best exercise is running and you hate running, you're not going to do it, right? But if you happen to like swimming, or you happen to like tennis, or you happen to like jumping on a pogo stick, it's immaterial as long as you have that aerobic fitness. And so what I tell people is, I have patients who are very obese who actually are in good shape physically because they're capable of doing a good amount of aerobic activity. That person's going to do fine if you look at the numbers. Then I have some people who are skinny and they have horrible aerobic fitness, and they're not going to do well by the numbers. And so again, I don't spend so much time on weight. I spend more time on what are you actually doing as an individual to keep yourself fit.
And that's really good advice. And I want to segue into eating, because now we're in the holiday season and people are eating everywhere. I know I am going to different offices and all the different hospitals that I visit. What advice are you giving people during the holiday season of what they should be eating and what they should not be eating?
So we've undergone, that's a good one, because, all I can tell you is at my office, we have some really terrific patients and colleagues, and it's just it's unbelievable how much goodies end up there. And,
Yes.
it's all terrific stuff. So what I tell people is, I never tell my patients, you need to become a vegetarian, or you need to, have some kind of an extreme diet. I've always been a believer that there's really not value in being overly extreme. If I take somebody who is, eating hamburgers and steak and chips and, junk all day long, and they have a heart attack, and I try to make them into a vegetarian, I know for a fact that's just simply not possible. So if I take somebody and ask them to make a small move, right, so that rather than eating hamburgers at every meal, you eat hamburgers at 3 meals and make a little bit better of a choice the other 4 meals. If I can get you to move a little bit, and then I take care of the rest with cholesterol medication and other things that I can do, I think I have a better chance of really keeping you on target, right? And then once you're eating hamburgers 3 meals a week, and you say, I can kind of live with this, if we say to each other, okay, well, let's maybe go down to 2 days a week for hamburgers. What do you think about that? And slowly move towards a process that is going to get you where you want to be. Again, we've got really great modern medicine. So I think eating is important. I think it's very important to minimize carb intake. Carbohydrates are anything white, basically. Sugar, pasta, bread, potatoes, rice, the things that you crave, right?
Right.
But if we can minimize our carb intake, we made a big mistake, and when I say we, I mean we in the healthcare profession, a lot of years ago, when we sort of had this food pyramid that was based in grains and things like that. And what ended up happening was that contributed to a lot of diabetes and a lot of sort of truncal obesity, and what we call the diabesity epidemic. And we're a lot wiser at this point. We really recognize that there are healthy fats. We went sort of to this high carb, low fat diet, and that was just not functional. It actually increased diabetes, worsened heart disease, and things like that. And so we're a lot more smart now, where we recognize there are healthy fats, and that meats and legumes and things like that are very, very good for you. And we try to minimize the carbs. More of a Mediterranean type diet is actually the best. Obviously, during the holidays, I mean, what are you going to say? I think eating is such an important piece of what we do. It's part of family. It's part of being together. I usually tell my patients, try to use some moderation, but don't make yourself miserable and enjoy yourself during the holidays.
And let me ask you, I mean, we talked about the eating, the exercise, we talked about AFib, lipids. Do you see patients in your office that's once they get all of that combination in a normal level, that you've been able to wean them off medication?
So what I will tell you is yes.
And I'm asking that because, there's a lot of people that are on medication that want to try to be able to eliminate certain medication that they take.
Right. So what I will tell you is there are plenty of my patients. Listen, as a doctor, I spend my whole life giving people medication.
Right.
I am way happy to stop medication. It is a celebration when we can stop meds. What I will tell you is it is uncommon that patients are able to do the amount of work that they need to do to get off of medications. Let me kind of take a step back. So if you look at hypertension, right, the lifetime risk for hypertension in the United States is 90%. we have a 90% chance of requiring antihypertensive medication in our lifetime. And as we get older, our blood pressure goes up. It's just a factual thing. So the likelihood that, that people are going to be able to exercise their way out of hypertension is highly unlikely. I mean, most of what I deal with, most of what I fight is not lifestyle stuff. It's actually genetics. We're really pre-programmed. And so, I get somebody who comes into my office who's, 500 pounds and has a blood pressure of 140/90. I'm going to tell you, yeah, you could probably diet and exercise and, get down, you could lose 30 pounds or 40 pounds and your blood pressure would probably come down fine. But if you come into my office and you're mildly overweight, maybe a little chubby, and your blood pressure's, 180/105, the likelihood you're going to get there with diet and exercise is next to nothing. So, and that scenario is way more common than sort of the other scenario that I was talking about. So what I would tell you is, yes, I think as physicians, we're obligated to use meds simply because most of what we're fighting, patients are unable to get where they need to be. But we are always happy and ready to stop the meds when we can. I want to talk about another group of folks because one of the things that we're very clear about is patients who have coronary disease. Mm-hmm. I get a lot of them coming into my office saying, well, I don't want to take a medication for my cholesterol. You need to wrap your head around the fact you need cholesterol medicine. Whatever your cholesterol is, if you've laid down plaque enough in your arteries to require a stent, that cholesterol is too high for you, and you're not going to be able to take care of that adequately with cholesterol, with diet and exercise. And that has been shown convincingly over and over again in excellent scientific studies. So what I would say is, yes, we love to get patients off of medications. Yes, I have success stories. I've had folks come to me and, be very heavy and either get a gastric bypass or are able on their own to lose 50 to 100 pounds and I've been able to take them off of medications. And that's a celebration,
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's extremely difficult to maintain that. Our cure rate of obesity in this country is worse than virtually every single cancer we have. So, again, not to be negative on it, it's just from a very practical standpoint. I've seen very few people that are able to maintain that.
Right. I know you have a passion for your profession, for being a cardiologist. What was it that inspired you to study cardiology and become a doctor?
So I had a very unique childhood. My father was an engineer, a civil engineer, and at 40 years old, he went through a midlife crisis and decided he wanted to go to medical school. So the family, we moved to Cleveland, and he went to medical school. I was 11 at the time. And so through my sort of more formative years, I had the opportunity to watch my father go through medical school and then go through residency and fellowship. And he would often take me to the hospital and show me the dissection lab, the cadaver lab, and all the crazy things that he would do. And he would talk about all the interesting things and patients and different folks he would take care of. And it was fascinating to me. And and so when I went to college, I was convinced I wanted to be a doctor. But I made the decision that if at any point that I decided that I really didn't want to do that, then I would choose a different career path. And as I got more into it, I got more and more passionate about it. And then cardiology, my father was a pediatric intensivist. He did pediatric intensive care, which is completely different than I do. And but when I was when we did the class on cardiac physiology, I was absolutely fascinated. It was so interesting and almost intuitive to me that it was very funny. All of my classmates knew I was going to be a cardiologist before I knew. And I just loved it. And so when the opportunity arose, that's what I decided to do. But it's such an amazing profession. I honestly couldn't do anything else. It's such a privilege to be able to have something that you look forward to doing what you do. Because I go home at the end of the day and I'm tired, I'm exhausted, but I never can feel like I haven't made a difference. I always get to feel like I do something important.
Right. And let me ask you, because this show is called You and Your Doctor, and a lot of the patients and the people that are watching like to know, what do doctors do when they have some time off? So what is it that you do for fun and what you do when you have time off?
So I'm kind of a high energy guy, so I like to go skiing. I actually go heli skiing. Mm-hmm. I love to golf. I have a 4-year-old and I have a 12-year-old, and I love spending time with them. That's one of my very favorite things to do. And I love to travel. I like to take the kids to interesting places that they'll be able to tell their kids about. When I was young, my folks traveled with me and gave me a knowledge of the world as much bigger than just our backyard, and get to explore different cultures and different ways of thinking, and that's one of my very favorite things to do. And then I also like to scuba dive. Mm-hmm. I like to fish. So I have a lot of varied interests, and anything else that's high energy and exciting.
Well, wonderful. Well, Florida Medical Center is very, very lucky to have you. Thank you for all that you do for our patients at Florida Medical Center. And have a good evening and happy Hanukkah. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Deanna Barron. I'm an RN with All County Healthcare. I used to work for this huge corporate-owned home health agency, and I was always worried that they wouldn't let me make enough nursing visits to be sure that your wound was fully healed, or that you were completely comfortable checking your husband's blood sugar level and giving him the correct dose of insulin, or that your mom's lingering cough was the end of her bronchitis, not the beginning of a new episode. The owner of All County Healthcare always says, give the patient what they need, and he means it. At All County Healthcare, I see my patients until their goals are met, and I never worry. I hope you never need a nurse to come to your home. But if you do, tell your doctor, I want All County Healthcare.
All County Healthcare, Inc. is locally owned and operated, serving the Tri-County area, Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward counties for the last 25 years. The practice of medicine is changing dramatically. All County Healthcare, Inc. still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare Home Care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision, and only your decision, on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096. You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask, but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Hi, my name is Patty Villard. I'm filling in for David DePino. We are on You and Your Doctor. This evening we have Monique with us, and Monique is with All County Healthcare. Good evening, Monique.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Wanted to ask you, what is All County Healthcare, and what is it exactly that you do?
Okay. I am a rep for All County, which is a Medicare certified agency. We've been sponsoring You and Your Doctor on the show, bringing specialists in your area to educate you. We've been providing home health services since 1990. We are located in Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. And we, after illness or injury, if you need nursing, speech therapy, occupational therapy, social work intervention, physical therapy, psych, nursing, or respiratory care. We also do wound care or IV antibiotics. We have nurses that come into the home to provide all those services.
So you are like an umbrella with all those services underneath that people can come and find you and ask for your help.
Right.
And what is the process to obtain those services? Because, you know, sometimes people go through such a hard time trying to navigate the healthcare system.
Of course.
And they need help. So what advice is it that you have for the people that are listening for us tonight?
Well, for everyone, the most important thing to know is we provide Medicare home care, but for Medicare patients, it's the patient's choice what exact company they want to use. So if a patient were to go to their doctor and say, I choose All County, they can and will use the company of their choice.
And what advice do you have when people come in? They have to filling out the paperwork can be overwhelming.
Of course.
Do you have social workers there that can help?
So we kind of simplify all that for you. So how it works is the patient will go directly to their physician, whether it be internal medicine doctor, orthopedic, podiatry, and they will, if the doctor, if they don't know of a company, the doctor will provide a list for them. But say they wanted to use All County directly, they would tell their physician, this is the company of my choice I want to use for my home care. The doctor would write a prescription, and then they would send that over to our office. And then from there, we staff the case, whether it be nurse, physical therapy, like I said, occupational therapy. And we have a nurse that does a start of care. She goes into the home, and we see exactly what the patient's needs are, and we communicate with the doctor. And
how long can that entire process take?
Well, the nurse, usually when the doctor writes the prescription, we have 24 to 48 hours for the nurse to go into the home to do the start of care. And after that, based on the patient's needs, if they need physical therapy, the doctor writes how many days a week the patient needs it for. And the cert period's 60 days. And if the patient meets their goals, they'll be discharged. And if not, we recertify them and have the nurse come out again.
And I know you have a lot of people that are happy with your services.
Yes.
Can you share a story or two?
Yes, of course. Well, we are the only company that has exclusivity with the IPV machine for COPD, asthma, bronchitis. And we had a patient, I want to say he was in his 90s, who was able to swim again, we even received a letter that he was able to make love to his wife again. So it's just, the results have been excellent. And it's also been proven to reduce readmissions in the hospital. And
which is very important.
Yes, exactly.
I know that we were talking earlier and you work in the Broward area. Can you take me through a day in the life of Monique. Tell me what you do during the day to make it all happen and make all the pieces come together.
Yes, of course. So I've been working for the company for 7 years now. So a lot of the current accounts I have, I revisit. They send me patients, and every time the doctor sends a patient, you have to follow it through with paperwork. So it's a lot of meeting with patients. I'll go to rehab facilities, nursing homes. We're very hands-on at our company, so we meet all the patients. We keep in touch with them. It's also trying to establish new accounts, so meeting with hospitals, new doctors' offices. It's like a revolving door, but try and get the name out there and establish as many accounts as we can.
And how did the company start? I know you mentioned you were there for 7 years. When did the company start, and how did it get its beginning?
It started in 1990. My boss, Lou Biazzi, and his partner, Cynthia. His dad was sick with Alzheimer's, was it? Yeah. And then he just wanted to help other patients throughout and just
to help them feel navigate the healthcare system.
Exactly.
Yes, which can be very complicated.
Yes.
And I just want to remind everybody that's listening to us and watching us that if they want to get a hold of All County Healthcare, they can also call Maddie at 1-888-717-7170. Very important, because all of us are going to go through this, and I'm sure you've heard the stories. When we have loved ones that need attention, that need special care. What is it when you're confronting a family that is going through a difficult moment? What is it that you do that you can help them so they can feel better?
Of course. Like I said, we'll communicate directly with the family members. I also provided these services through our company for my family. So I kind of try and explain to them how it's more of a mom and pop type family kind of business, as opposed to there's other companies that are more corporate and not as hands-on. And I keep in touch with them throughout, as is everyone else, and we try and make them feel as comfortable as they can with the process.
Right. And you had mentioned, you have a relationship with the hospitals. So how does the relationship with All County Healthcare and the hospitals work?
So, like I said, we've been in business since 1990, so it's a lot of, we have so many relationships with doctors throughout. So a lot of hospitalists in the hospitals or case managers, we kind of know so many people throughout the years. So it's just word of mouth and us going into new offices and just
we're
seeing everyone we know.
We're in the holiday season.
Of course.
So what stories do you have? What testimonial stories do you have during this time that you can share? Of people that you've met, of people that perhaps, you took care of, that are so, like you mentioned the 90-year-old gentleman who is back swimming and happy with his wife.
Right.
What holiday story can you share with us that's heartwarm? Do you have one recently of a patient that you met, since you're out and about and you're meeting different people?
Yeah, of course.
Do you have another story that you can share?
I have a patient too, because we have the private side where we also do live-in aids.
Yes.
I have a patient who was referred to me from my grandmother, and he wasn't walking well, and I had referred an aide over to him who's been helping him tremendously, and he's up and running and right before the holiday season. So
and I think it's really important what you mentioned, that you have referred family,
of course,
to the company that you work for.
Of course.
Your grandmother has referred friends because they trust in the care that you're giving, all the patients and all the families that are coming to see you.
Of course.
And I want to mention that number once again. If anybody has any questions, this is really important. All of us are going to go through this one time in our lives or through another of taking care of a family member or helping a family member that needs help. You can call 1-888-717-7170, and you can ask for Maddie Kaplan, and she'll be happy to give you information. And also Monique, who is in the community as well, meeting out there, meeting the doctors, going to the hospitals, meeting patients in order to help the community navigate through the healthcare, which sometimes can be a bit challenging.
Of course.
What other services do you offer? Because you mentioned, the live-in, you mentioned the therapy. So just so people have an understanding.
Yeah, of
because
course.
unless you go through this experience of taking care of a loved one or helping a loved one, you really don't understand what it is that you're going to be going through.
Of course.
So what other services do you give?
So we do anything from speech therapy, occupational therapy, social work intervention, physical therapy. We have psych nurses, respiratory therapy, wound care, IV antibiotics. So any of those services, we do have nurses to take care of patients.
And out of the services that you mentioned, do you have any testimonials that you could share of successes that you've had with people there?
Yeah, of course. I've had patients who, it goes for all. If you have surgery, we have so many people who use our therapists, and we have had excellent care that will help them up and walk again. Even my grandfather, before he passed years later, but a couple years ago, he started on service with us as well, and he had pain in his sciatica, and we had a excellent physical therapist in the area come out and help, and he was able to walk. He was paralyzed in the whole left side of his body, so they helped him move his hands here and there. So we definitely have therapists to help.
Yeah, and working with therapists is so important, especially when one needs them.
Of course.
I want to thank you for being on.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for for giving us the information. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Thanks.
Thank you for letting us share with you a longer and healthier lifestyle. If you have a doctor or are a doctor and wish to be on the show, call AMP2 TV at 866-244-5422, and we will put you on the air as soon as possible. Tune in next week for more information on living longer and having a healthier life. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. All County Healthcare, Inc. is locally owned and operated, serving the Tri-County area, Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward counties for the last 25 years. The practice of medicine is changing dramatically. All County Healthcare, Inc. still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare Home Care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision, and only your decision, on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096.
Hi, my name is Deanna Barron. I'm an RN with All County Health Care. I used to work for this huge corporate-owned home health agency, and I was always worried that they wouldn't let me make enough nursing visits to be sure that your wound was fully healed, or that you were completely comfortable checking your husband's blood sugar level and giving him the correct dose of insulin, or that your mom's lingering cough was the end of her bronchitis, not the beginning of a new episode. The owner of All County Healthcare always says, give the patient what they need, and he means it. At All County Healthcare, I see my patients until their goals are met, and I never worry. I hope you never need a nurse to come to your home. But if you do, tell your doctor, I want all-county health care.
You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask, but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Good evening. My name is Patty Villa. I was the host tonight for Dave DePino, who's off this evening. Thank you for listening. We want to thank David Perloff, Dr. David Perloff, once again from Florida Medical Center, who spoke about matters of the heart and how to take care of your heart and what to eat during this holiday season. And remember, much exercise. We also want to thank our sponsor, All County Healthcare. Remember, if you need information and you want to talk to Maddie, call her at 1-888-717-7170. Happy holidays and Happy New Year, and have a fabulous 2018.
Thank you for letting us share with you a longer and healthier lifestyle. If you have a doctor or are a doctor and wish to be on the show, call AMP2 TV at 866-244-5422, and we will put you on the air as soon as possible. Tune in next week for more information on living longer and having a healthier life.
The opinions expressed on the preceding
and 95.3 FM WNN.
A bad back, heartburn, low libido, stiff joints, not sleeping well, got allergies, need to lose weight? If you want to feel better, please tune into my Health Talk show, Sunday mornings at 10, the Dr. Bob Martin Show, on Talk 1470 WNN.
Over 200,000 people have found a way to work from home. Find out what they're doing and how they're doing it at Online Trading Academy. Online Trading Academy is the leader in investment education. They teach the right way to trade stocks, options, futures, and Forex. You're taught by pro traders who are certified, currently trade, and are profitable. They show you what they do every day. How to find the right stocks, how money is made in up, sideways, and down markets, how professionals time the market, and how to limit the risk on each and every trade. So if you're at the point where you want to start working from home, do what over 200,000 students have done. Take a free half-day class to see what it's like. Call now to reserve a pair of seats at Online Trading Academy in Broward and Palm Beach. Online Trading Academy, the leader in investment education. Call 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800.
Times are tough, and right now those in the commercial world know that being heard via advertisements is the name of the game. AmpSquare.tv understands how important advertisement is and is proud to express that it's truly the only plugged-in internet television production company on the market. AMP2.tv live streams all their shows across all the major selling markets in the U.S. and abroad. Call them at 866-224-5422. The AmpSquare.tv library allows productions to be seen over and over again, making commercial platforms more usable. Call 866-224-5422. Toll free 866-224-5422. AMP2.tv, the first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP2.tv. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're having an amazing Tuesday. It is Tuesday. It is time for the Power Biz Show. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. Hopefully you're getting all your to-do lists, your shopping lists, all in order. You're checking once, twice, and 3 times over. I am your host and executive producer of the Power Biz Show, Ann Charlius. I'm so excited to be here today where we are celebrating all month long. What are we celebrating? Shop Small. Shop Small is a movement, we can call it, that started many years ago by American Express, or one of the co-founders, where we are encouraging people to shop small. The Power Biz Show is about entrepreneurship, empowerment, really equipping you with the tools that you'll need to soar in business. Now, for those of you who are meeting me for the first time, whether you're on traditional radio here in South Florida, I want to say welcome, hello, and how are you? And if you're listening on the iHeartRadio app, welcome, welcome, welcome. And to all our social media audience, I want to say hello, hello, and a welcome, whether you're on YouTube, Periscope, or Facebook. Now, I know I look a little different today, right? I look a little different today. I'll get into why I look so different in a little bit, and it definitely applies to your business. Now, if you are watching this electronically, you're going to see me looking down. I am looking down because I'm going to be sharing out this video to my audience, and I want to encourage you to do the same. You know, I have that saying, sharing is caring. And I definitely do believe that sharing is caring, because you never do know who's going to be able to see this on your timeline. And once they see it on your timeline, the positive effect that it can have for you. So tell me, are you suited and booted? Are you geared up to shop small? Now, we had two amazing guests scheduled for tonight. One of our guests got tied up in South Florida traffic and is not going to be able to make it here to the station here in Boca Raton, Florida on time. And we're waiting for our other guests to actually patch in electronically from Virginia. So hopefully we'll get a sign soon that she is on the line and she is suited and booted. But here's the thing. In life, as well as in business, you always have to be ready with your plan B and plan C. And today, guess what? I have to be ready with my plan B and my plan C. You know, many years ago, when I was much younger, we're not going to say how much younger, when I was much younger, I actually would think to myself, when things didn't go as planned, I would get a little anxious. I would get filled with anxiety. Hey, it's happened to the best of us in business, where you think you've planned well, you think that you've made selections properly, and things happen, right? Murphy's Law. But guess what? Now that I'm older and hopefully wiser and cuter, I don't know, you tell me, am I cuter? Now that I'm older and wiser, I realize truly that everything happens for a reason. There is no need whatsoever to get frustrated by a situation, because whatever is happening to you is happening for your greater good. You have to find that silver lining in the cloud. So let me tell you a little bit about my background. I am the founder of Shiro Rising. I actually help empower entrepreneurs, especially female entrepreneurs, to grow in their business, to really get the tools that they're going to need using corporate strategies that I've learned from billion-dollar companies. I actually was a top sales executive, 13-time award-winning sales executive for a $2.5 billion multinational company. I am the former director of legal and public affairs for the Minority Chamber of Commerce, where I represented over 5,000 businesses, 1 million employees, and $1 billion, with a B, billion dollars in revenue. And so when I say that I am passionate, experienced, and equipped to help you in business, I mean just that. And we're so excited to have this platform, the Power Biz Hour, to really help equip you for the free 99, as they say. And we are powered by Bloomberg Business Week. We're excited to be partnered with them, and we have just received a second and third partnership that I am so excited about. I cannot wait to share the good news about that. Now, of course, if you ever want to connect with me, you can always connect with me by going to your cell phone, opening up a new text message, and texting the word Shero. That's SHERO. Once again, that's SHERO to the number 77948. That's Shero, SHERO to the number 77948. When you send that text, you will get a link that will allow you to schedule an appointment to speak to me, where we can connect and collaborate and learn and grow, because it's all about support and collaboration. It's not about competition. Now, that being said, let's talk about why I look so different, right? Normally, I don't have glasses on. I'm not doing the geek chic thing. Normally, I don't have a hat on. And normally, I have long flowing hair. But here's the reality. I'm not a robot. I'm not an avatar. I'm not a meme. I don't do this for fake. I do it for real. And the reality is I had a very busy schedule today that just didn't allow me to get all beautiful for you. And I had to make a choice. Get here on time for my viewers or get all dolled up. And guess what? I chose you. I chose you. So as we wait for our guests to arrive, I want to give you and equip you with some business skills that are going to help you during this shop small season. Because when you think about it, when we talk about shop small, we're talking about small business. And a lot of times, small business owners don't necessarily have the ability to have huge marketing budgets. If you're an entrepreneur out there, if you're a small business owner out there, if you are a person that's, guess what, just getting started, you are on a shoestring budget, you know exactly what I mean. Some of these concepts and ideas are really cool, but what happens when you don't have the budget, where your business is just getting by? Understand this, you're not alone. You're not alone. However, not having the capital is a serious problem. And so tonight, we are going to give you some tools that you'll be able to use on the free 99 to be able to really put some of your goals, your business goals, on course to be successful, especially as we round out the holiday season, and especially as we start a new quarter in January. Now, why is this so important? This is so important because 96% of businesses do not make it to their second year. Can I say that again? 96% of businesses do not make it to their second year. So that means if 100 people start in business, 96 of them are going to have their expiration date before they can start their second year. This is really scary. Now, the other question that you might be asking yourself is, Ann, why are you so enthusiastic about women entrepreneurship? The reason why it's important to me is that entrepreneurship really empowers you. It empowers you economically, but it also empowers you socially. That being said, here in the United States, according to Inc. magazine, only 260,000 of 100,000 startups are being headed by women. So out of 100,000 startups each year, only 260,000 are being headed by a woman. That's a travesty, especially when you think about the numbers. We make over half of the population. And so, yes, I'm all about entrepreneurship and I like everyone. However, I am keenly focused on helping women get equipped and get empowered to soar, soar, soar. So listen, you may be asking yourself, well, I'm a small business owner. I'm in the height of holiday season. As I close out this holiday season, as I start a new quarter and a new year, what are some things that do I need to keep in mind? What things should I keep in mind to avoid the statistic, to avoid actually failing? So let's talk about that. Number one, you need to make sure that you are providing products and services that have a need. Products and services that have a need. If it doesn't have a need out there, a real need, you need to really ask yourself, are you passionate enough? Do you love this concept enough to really keep on pushing with the product or service? So a lot of times in business, the business actually has a great concept, but maybe there are certain product lines that really is sucking the budget out of your profit. So you really need to take a look at not only your business, but the different revenue streams, the different segments of your business, to make sure that each and every single one of them are successful, are really handling their own weight. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean that because a certain segment of your business is not profitable that you should cut it out of your business. But what it does mean is that you do need to take a look at it carefully. Is it in beta stage and that's why it's not profitable? Is it actually you're investing because you just started it out? Is that why it's not profitable? Is it requiring a lot of technology advances in the first couple of years? And is that why it's not profitable? So you got to take a look at, is there a market need? And the next thing is, a big reason why people fail is running out of cash. Running out of cash. It's all about cash flow. It's all about revenue. You cannot make impact in this world as an entrepreneur if you're not earning income. You can't make impact if you're not earning income. And a lot of times in business, we are so passionate about what we do that sometimes the whole concept of being keenly focused on revenue generation and cash flow, guess what? We just don't even think about it. We just don't even think about it. Or we put it on the back burner because it's the dirty subject that we really don't want to think about, because we don't have the school tools that we think that we need in order to be successful. So you are running out of cash. 29% of businesses, that's one of the reasons why they fail. The next thing is you don't have the right team. And oh my goodness, you guys, I totally get it and understand. It is not easy. It is not easy. It is not easy to really run a team. I am so sorry. I was getting a text message from one of our guests who was having some technical difficulties. And so I'm going to text her and let her know that she can call now, and we should be ready for her shortly for her to patch on in. But see, this is what I tell you, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, as a radio personality, you have to be able to roll with the punches. You have to be able to handle things extemporaneously, because that's life. That is life. And the reality is, as long as you focus on really the positives of your business, of what you're doing, you will have the ability the ability to really be successful. And so right now, I'm talking to you on the phone while I'm texting information to her, because that's what we as entrepreneurs do. We have to roll with the punches, and thankfully, I am pretty much able to do it after a lot of practice and ability. So what we're going to do is run to a quick commercial break. It's a little bit unorthodox, but she needs some help. And so guess what? It's Ann Charlie is to the rescue. So I'm going to ask my engineer to quickly run us to a quick commercial break so I can get her some assistance, and we'll be right back to finish up this topic and speak to our special guest. See you in a couple of minutes.
Times are tough, and right now those in the commercial world know that being heard via advertisements is the name of the game. AmpSquare.tv understands how important advertisement is and is proud to express that it's truly the only plugged-in internet television production company on the market. Amp2.tv live streams all their shows across all the major selling markets in the U.S. and abroad. Call them at 866-224-5422. The AmpSquare.tv library allows productions to be seen over and over again, making commercial platforms more usable. Call 866-224-5422. Toll free 866-224-5422. Amp2.tv, the first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP2.TV.
Home of the Rainbow Bagel, My Delicious Deli brings you home cooking with a Remember When Deli dining experience. Located in central Boca Raton, My Delicious Deli prepares all of their food with the freshest of ingredients cooked to order. From a light nosh and soups to omelets and full entrees, choose from low-fat and gluten-free or indulge in one of My Delicious Deli's signature deli sandwiches. Bring your family and friends to dine in or take out. Open 7 days a week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner to go, or for all of your catering needs. Visit us at mydeliciousdeli.com or give us a call at 561-393-3287. There is something for everyone. Join us at 7036 West Palmetto Park Boulevard in Boca Raton. 954-393-3287.
Times are tough, and right now those in the commercial world know that being heard via advertisements is the name of the game. AmpSquare.tv understands how important advertisement is and is proud to express that it's truly the only plugged-in internet television production company on the market. Amp2.tv live streams all their shows across all the major selling markets in the U.S. and abroad. Call them at 866-224-5422. The AmpSquare.tv library allows productions to be seen over and over again, making commercial platforms more usable. Call 866-224-5422. Toll free 866-224-5422. Amp2.tv, the first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP2.TV.
I'm back. Welcome to the Power Biz Show. Thank you so much. Listen, we love technology, but sometimes it's not working for us. We are looking forward to speaking to our guests, but let's wrap up the top 5 reasons why businesses fail while she gets on. Number 1, we're going to start from the top and work our way down. No market need. We already discussed that before the commercial break. Number 2, running out of cash. Number 3, not having the right team. And listen, I know that feeling. It is so hard to find the right team, but you got to put in the work. You got to put in the effort to find the right team. The next is too much competition. And I definitely know how that feels. When I decided a year and 4 months ago to become a business coach, a part of me was a little bit afraid to do so because there is so many people claiming to be business coaches. But I had to really look at the competition, evaluate what they're doing, what they're providing, and looking at where I can fill a need and provide a solution and why I am that much better. And once you can differentiate yourself from the rest, they no longer become competition. And then the final reason is pricing and cost issues. You have to find that right cost, that right pricing. And so those are the top 5 reasons why businesses fail. We want you to move into closing the holiday season and starting your new year, avoiding these pitfalls, because we don't want you to be in the 96%. We want you to be in the 4%. So that being said, let's see if technology is working for the last half of the show. Yes! Hey! I see my girlfriend, superstar, female powerhouse. How are you, Vanessa?
Hi, Ann. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. You know what? You don't even have to say sorry. Listen, you always have to be prepared as an entrepreneur. I was prepared with something to do just in case things happen. So we're going to get right into it. And I appreciate your apologies. But first, let me say, I need that gold pineapple that's in your background. I need that gold pineapple. It is gorgeous.
This is my team's mascot.
Oh, my God. I absolutely love it. It's so funny. I know how much you love pineapples and what they represent. And every time I see a pineapple, I think of you now, just so you know. I might as well rename it the Vanessa instead of pineapple.
Thank you. That's so funny because I feel like it's kind of become part of me, you know, especially on social media. I'll have people share things that are pineapples and, yeah. So that makes me happy.
Well, we're so happy to have you. We are celebrating this month Shop Small. Well, we are highlighting small business owners. You know, so many times people in social media world and radio, TV, we talk about Shop Small, but we don't put our money where our mouth is. And so this season, I decided, you know what? I want to open up at least my platform and give back to the small business community. So I'm going to really sit back a little bit. Please share with the audience about yourself and about exactly what you do and the products you offer.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you, Ann, asking me to your platform. It's always a pleasure. Always had fun doing so, and so I appreciate you, and I appreciate your heart and passion for entrepreneurship, especially with females and small businesses. And so a little bit about myself. My name is Vanessa Windsor. I'm originally from New York, but I live here in Lynchburg, Virginia. And I'm an entrepreneur. I actually call myself a change leader. Reason why is because I kind of jumped into entrepreneurship in a small home-based business, really not having any background, but truly desiring that little something extra for my family, but also through my journey the past 2 years, really helping people find change in their confidence, whether it's through our products that we offer or whether it's through owning your own home-based business. So to kind of give you a little background story on me, I never saw myself doing something like this. However, I was a consumer. I was looking for a product for my skin. I suffered from acne on and off my entire life. Oh, my goodness, my poor mother. The things that she has done for me to try to get my skin healthy and looking vibrant. You know, I've been in and out of dermatology offices since I've been 12. And really, I just never found a product that was right for me. But I was always willing to try something. And what stood out about my company, to me, personally, as a consumer, was that they were willing to offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. You know, they have clinically proven products from the 2 most famous dermatologists. You might have heard of them. the doctors that created Proactive. And so for me, two things happened in my mind. I said, I got 60 days empty bottle, and I can also use the power of their brand to therefore help me and my family and my skin and help others in the process of doing so. And so with our products, I really, truly, these products, they are transformational. They're clinically proven, and they focus on the 4 most common skin conditions. So we don't focus on those 4. And what I love about this is people will ask me, well, do I have to be a certain ethnicity to use these products? No. We focus on skin conditions, okay? So skin conditions. So it doesn't matter what race you are, it doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, any background, any skin type can use these products. We're just focusing on skin conditions. And so that really stood out to me, that I was able to offer a product to men, to women, to anyone of different colors. I think that's really important. And I also love the fact that I don't have to be an expert. We have a solution tool on my website that these doctors actually use in their office. Mm-hmm. They will do the 4 most common questions that they have is, what's your main concern? Is it anti-aging? Is it sensitivity? Is it acne? Or maybe you're looking for that hyperpigmentation to get rid of those dark marks, get rid of sun damage. You know, most Americans have a lot of sun damage. That's actually the first signs of aging. And I know for me, I had a whole lot of going on. I had some sensitivity. I had some acne. I had some sun damage. And so I literally have been on every single product that we offer at different seasons of my life. So the first one that I focused on was my acne. And now I actually use our anti-aging line. And I also use the #1 lash product in all of America. We are the #1 selling lash product.
I did not know that.
Men, if you are listening and you're looking for an awesome product for your lady, our Lash Boost product is the #1 selling lash product in all of America, meaning we outsold the most common mascara, okay, listen to this, by $40 million in lash sales.
Okay, we got to repeat that. 40 million?
Million
Wow.
in 9 with our lash product. And so what's really great about these doctors, they're very, very innovative. You know, they focused on the 4 most common skin conditions, but they knew that the first signs of aging are in our eyes. People are looking at so the fine lines and wrinkles, they happen over here. And they also knew that lashes, right? So how many girls, you know, that use falsies, right? And they
That's
also
true.
know that they actually age as well. They fall out, they regrow, they get brittle. And so with our clinically proven lash serum, they clinically have proven in 6 to 8 weeks using biotin and keratin ingredients that your lashes will be fuller looking, longer looking, and darker looking in 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
The before and afters are amazing with this product as well, which I'm so happy to post some of them in the comment section if that works.
Absolutely. People love pictures. People love before and after pictures. And I have to say, for me, I've seen your before and after pictures for your lashes. And absolutely stunning. And listen, I am a beauty girl through and through, and lashes definitely finishes off a makeup look. There is something about lashes.
Too, you know, with the lashes, and what I love what our company does is they want to focus on your overall confidence. You know, I'm a get real with you, girl. If your products are not making you feel confident and they are not giving you the desired results that you have, because we know skincare, right? Skincare for premium skincare, it's not expensive. It's not like this, the grocery store brand. It's somewhere in between. But if you're spending and investing in yourself, you want these products to work for you. And I was kind of one of those people. I would try anything. I had a product graveyard. And what I love is that they pair, if you're really interested in kind of the overall look or gifting, right? And I love the gifting part because I have gifted so much of our company's products to people. And what I love about it is like something that you want, but you might not necessarily put the bullet for yourself, like, right away. And so that's a really nice gift. And I always love to tell people are like, what, skincare for, the holidays? What do you mean? People magazine, okay? And I'm going to post this article. They named anti-aging skincare as the number three gift for both men and women. And they also said it's the least likely to be returned for men and women.
Wow.
So anti-aging skincare is a huge market of people that are really interested. And our company, we're number one anti-aging brand in North America. So when you're gifting our products, you're gifting the best. And then they also, for the holidays, they have holiday sets. So you can pair a regimen and our lax serum together. You're going to get an additional 20% off. Okay? Then we also have, love it, and we have holiday gift sets. So they, just kind of like when you go to the department store and they have holiday gift sets, it's a little bit better than that, the way that they gift it. They actually paired our lax serum with our new Eye Bright complex, which is going to be focusing on the puffiness and dark circles underneath your eye area. So you're going to get that real wow punch. And they gift you with a free gift of a nice glittery eyelash curler. So I'll post those pictures in the comments for you to take a look at it. What I love so much about this type of gift is you're really giving the gift of confidence. And for me, that's a passion of mine because I'll never forget, actually, when I was in high school, I was gifted Proactive. And it was amazing for my skin as a teenager. And I'll never forget getting that. Like when your mom puts, like, the perfumes and the deodorants and the toothbrushes in your stocking, getting that for Christmas, you're giving an overall gift for the entire year of confidence and feeling good about yourself. And who doesn't want that?
And I was going to say that it's like giving a spa day to someone, but instead of just being one day, it's multiple days as they use this product. And so it really is a gift of telling them, you know what, you deserve some self-love and self-care. And so I love how you said it's a gift of confidence, because that's true also.
It really is. And what I like too, when I buy something, I'm all for like buy one, get one, like one for you, one for me. And right now with our lax serum, you can pair two together, and they're going to gift you this amazing, they're going to give you 2 little bags of this. So it's like, has like eyelashes on it. So you're going to get 2 lash boosts for 20% off. They're giving you 20% off, and you're going to get 2 free bags. So you can actually gift one, get one. Love that.
Love that. And we're going to put any link or anything so that people can easily shop, because we want them to shop small and shop simple, right?
Yeah.
We will put it in the comments box, so you'll be able to check it out in the comments box, everyone. So, you've been using this product for how long? These products?
2 years and 2 months.
Okay. And you've shared a little bit about your experience. Now, some people may not know because they're only seeing you from up here, but you are definitely physically fit. I've seen some videos of you doing some workouts. So she's mom, entrepreneur, wife, but also extremely physically fit. But what happens with people who are physically fit, you tend to do a lot of time outdoors in the sun. And so you may have a great body, but the sun damage is real. Like the UV rays have an impact. And so even if you have a loved one or someone who is physically fit, they will appreciate these products also. Even if you have someone who has great skin, it's also about maintaining that great skin.
It's true. It's about maintaining as well. And yes, like to add to that, I coached for many years as a lacrosse coach. Still a huge passion of mine, and I got a ton of sun damage. And I'll never forget the head coach I worked with, she was always like, you better put that sunscreen on because you're going to get sun damage, like, very easily. And so what I love about our regimens, it's a whole regimen. So you're gifting a wash, a toner, a treatment, and an SPF. And it lasts for like 60 to 90 days, a regimen lasts for. So that's 3 months. That's 3 months. You're kind of getting your person started, getting them through the door of this amazing premium skincare. And then they're able to just replace the parts as needed. It's kind of like a maintenance, Once you wash gets low, you can just replace that and things like that.
Now, one of the things that I love about you particularly is your love for your team and your community. You really care about them intimately. And a lot of times it's hard to find that, just to be very honest, because people in this day and age in business sometimes treat people like numbers. Are you able to talk to people who look up to you and say, you know what, I want to be like you. I want to not just purchase this as a gift, but I'm interested in even doing more with this product because I believe in it. What do you say to them?
I say reach out. Let's have a conversation. The first step is listening, and you kind of evaluate at the end. Yes, we have wholesale pricing. If you wanted to go that route. But I always say it's the gift that keeps on giving. For me, I actually jumped on board right before the holidays 2 years ago. I didn't have it figured out. You decided, I was like, I want wholesale pricing, and I want to try this. I want to try to change my skin, but also change my financial circumstance. And I think that's why I have such a love for my team. I have noticed through the past 2 years, there are so many people looking for that additional income stream that really can be beneficial, not only financially, but also self-changing. I've grown so much as a person, just professionally, but also really personally as a person through this, because you learn people skills. For me, I know I had 2 small children running around at the time. I had a 9-month-old when I had joined this business, and even just getting out once a month and getting that confidence back was just an amazing part, and being part of our amazing community. And our team really is amazing. And I think, our whole company is amazing, filled of, beautiful people. And I think the real passion here is just helping you with your goals, whatever they are, whether it's a discount or whether it's, make a 4-figure salary and really go for your goals. So
Absolutely.
I say let's have a chat. Let's go. I love chatting with people about this.
Exactly. And that's what I love about what you do, because it is about the 3 C's. The reality is, for most of us here, even if you're in a position, in a career that you love what you do and you're making a great salary, you still are just making a salary. You don't really have an emergency plan. You don't have a plan B. No matter what position you are in that company, you are replaceable and can receive a pink slip. I tell people this, the average CEO in America, the average CEO only lasts in that position for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
So what does that tell you about really the risk you're taking by only having one income? When you place yourself in a position where you only have one income, you're leaving money on the table, number one. But number two, you're putting yourself in a very precarious situation where you don't really have a plan B set up. So that's number one, cash flow. And that's why I love opportunities. Cash flow. I love opportunities like this because of that reason. Now, the other C is about community. Joining an organization like yours, having Vanessa as your team leader, you are joining a group of people that are going to wrap their arms around you, that are going to cheer for you, that's going to have your back. And I don't know about you, I remember when I worked in corporate America, Vanessa, there's no community. There's only competition. So tell me about some community experiences that you have had in the past that makes you love doing what you do.
Well, to backtrack on your first thing, I started this business when I was working basically full time as an assistant lacrosse coach. And, when you come from the coaching background, you kind of tend to pull things from that. And we always had a sense of family, a sense of belonging. And so with our Rodan Field community and my team personally, I can speak for my team. One, we have team events once a month, wherever we are. So, obviously we have a virtual business. So, and I love my team for this. We all love to just, get on a Skype call and shout out each other's goals, whether they're, for our business or personally. Things that we also do, I just had a holiday party here in Lynchburg, but I'm actually flying out to New York in a couple of days, and we're going to have this huge holiday party for our team, but I'm going to give you a little bit of secret here. Not only are we focusing inward with our community and really being there for one another, we're actually focusing outward. And I'll have to let you stay tuned in because I can't tell you too much. But we're actually going to be using our holiday events to give back to someone very special who is starting a non-for-profit. And she's actually on our team. And, just through hearing her story and her why she joined this business, we're going to be doing something really special for her to really support her in that dream, not necessarily in her, business with what we do. And I think that's what it's all about. It's listening to people. It's spending time with one another, and it doesn't even have to be a lot of time. It could just be a brief 15-minute phone call chat. There's plenty of times we call those power calls where you're just not having a good day. And you get on the phone with somebody else that's like, you know what, I'm still going to hit my goals even though I'm having a bad day, and so are you, and I'm cheering you on. That's what it's all about. And I think for me, no matter what, whatever this journey leads me, whether I, do something else alongside of it or whatever it is, I know I got my girls and my guys. We got a lot of guys on our team, believe it or not.
That's great.
We do. We have a lot of men that are joining because they're seeing this as a really smart business. But I also think they like the community aspect as well. There's there's something to be said about like-minded people coming together and really just being supportive. There's so much in this world where people just bring each other down. They just drag each other down, and I think that you're going to be a part of something else, whether you're working full-time on the side or whether you're looking to do this full-time. You need people that are positive in your life. And that's one thing that I'm really prideful about is that we are positive, we are go-getters. Actually, our team name is Team Will because we will succeed. We will get it done. We will be change leaders. It will happen. And what's willed to be will be. And
Absolutely.
So I think that's kind of, on a nutshell, what our community is based on, the things that we do is really just be there for one another, a listening ear, getting together once a month if we can, when we can, and celebrating success every single way, no matter what it is.
Absolutely. And then the other C is change. You talked about the importance of being in a community where they will push you to transform, just like that butterfly, right? Transformation, change is so important. If you're not changing, if you're not growing, I say this all the time, you're dying. And so being in a community that's going to really allow you to stretch outside your comfort zone, to be in a community that's not just in your zip code, where there's diversity of ideas and optimism is so important. Now, we've heard about the change you've had physically. What has this changed in you, in your personality, emotionally, confidence-wise? Please share with the audience.
Yeah. I think 2 years ago, I was someone who really couldn't tell you who Vanessa Windsor was. I was kind of like floating through air, not really knowing which direction I was going. I would say now I am a confident woman who knows what she wants, but not just knows what she wants, is willing to work to get what she wants. And that's kind of in every aspect of my life at this point, through my business, but mentally I think I'm just tougher. I think I'm also more tender-hearted. I think I've been around so many different stories and people that have inspired me that it makes me just more tender-hearted towards others and more willing to listen. I think I was more on the go 2 years ago, where it was kind of like, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? And now I take the time to hear people's story. Everyone has a story. And for me, that's been the ultimate change. I've kind of learned to slow down. I've learned to, be around my kids more in a more meaningful way. Like, maybe not 8 hours a day, but like a meaningful, 1 to 2 hours of, spending that quality time with them. And now I just feel like I live an overall more balanced life. And that's really been the biggest change for me. And I needed it. And I didn't know I needed it. And I always tell people that. You might not even know you need change in your life. You might not even know why you're saying yes to something. And then it's a journey. It's day by day that you change. So I think, Vanessa Windsor is a completely different person, but I think I'm just a better version of myself.
Absolutely. It's not about forgetting who you are, what you've been through. It's about being that better version, that improved version, that elevated version of yourself. Now, it's the holiday season. We know that you're going to be in the NYC. In addition, what else are you doing for this holiday season? How are you celebrating it? What are some things that you do as a family tradition?
Well, I have a huge family in New York. Like, you're talking, so many family members. It's amazing. My brother actually just got home from Japan. He's a Marine, and he just flew in last night. And so this will be the first time me and my other 3 siblings will be together, probably since 2 years ago. So I know we're going to kind of do a sibling thing. A tradition that we have is that we always celebrate with our large family on New Year's Eve. That's a big to-do. We have about 30 to 35 family members.
Wow.
We're all just going to have a great family dinner, conversations. We always just sing, those holiday songs like Oh Silent Night. All my family's really big into singing, which is so funny because I can't sing at all. But I like to listen and be there. And really, this is going to be the first time my husband has had a vacation, because he does still work a 9 to 5. First time he's had a vacation in 9 months. So we're really just going to soak it in. We're going to go into the city and see the tree. And then I'm really looking forward to our New York team holiday party. I'm so excited about that.
That is so exciting. I will be in the NYC in February myself. Yes. And in January, I will be in Asia. So I won't be in Japan, but I will be in Asia in January. So really exciting.
Well, my brother said he loves it. So hopefully you'll love it too.
I'm excited. But, that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. We have to say that, is that you are able to travel. I mean, look at the juxtaposition between you and your husband. The last time he was able to get away was 9 months ago. So that's the beauty of an entrepreneur. You can set your own schedule and set it in a way that works for you. Now, we're moving on in to the new year, and I want to wish you a happy New Year. And it's so exciting that you do something special on New Year's Eve. New Year's is actually one of my favorite holidays in my life, because as a kid, we had a tradition on New Year's Day to sit together as a family and pray together and talk about our wins, our lessons, and our goals as a family.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's really, I just absolutely love it. And now, that I'm older, I do vision boards, and I just love New Year. It's like just this chapter, this line in the sand where I feel like you can start anew.
That's a good tip, too, for busy entrepreneurs that have a team. Get on Skype. Last year, we did a vision board with our entire team virtually. It was awesome.
Virtual vision board. VVP.
I'm all about the vision board.
I absolutely love it. So, what are some of your goals for 2018? I'm going to put you on the spot. What are your goals in 2018? Now I have it in audio and video version that we can come back next year and say, did you make it? Did we make it? What are some of your goals?
Well, I'm just going to call it out there. First and foremost, I want to become an even better leader. I want to lead my team of other leaders. Like, I want as many leaders as I could possibly get on my team. So my goal is really looking to others, finding those people that really want to make this happen and grabbing down and pulling them up. So my goal at the end of 2018, I would like to have about 5, 6 top of people in my organization at the top of my company. It's a big goal, but I know we can do it. Me personally, my personal goal would really to find more time to self-develop more. And I've done a ton of it in the past 2 years, but really, really, like, self-develop more, which I'm sure you can help me with that, Anne. I know you can. And also with our new project, Live the Confident Life, really being willing to kind of extend a hand to other people that might need a tip or two getting into these types of businesses. And I think just really helping them change. And then my number 4 would be to be in my shiny white cars from the company.
We like shiny white cars. Listen,
I mean,
I'm
like so sick of paying a car payment. Like, I'm over it.
Exactly. But let me tell you something. I totally was remiss to not mention Live the Confident Life. I love that. With the few minutes remaining, can you please tell our audience all about that? I think you have a co-founder. Please share with us, because that is a great passion project.
Yes, it's a passion project that me and my power partner, CareGiver, came up with. She was the first person, and also my best friend, to join me in business. And really, we found that we were successful together because we power partnered with one another. We were always there for one another every single day of the journey. And so this was a passion project where we want to power partner with other people, just giving them day-to-day tips of entrepreneurship, living your ultimate confident life, right? Because if we can live confidently, we can do anything we set our minds to. And so really, it's just us power partnering with you on our virtual platform. You know, we've had so many people from all over contact us, just asking tips. Like, I just had another girl who's stepping out into kind of like the fitness active wear. We were able to kind of just consult with her and get her that confidence to say, hello, world, here I come. So it's just exciting to support other people. And I think that's really what we've always been about, is we want to make others better no matter what we're doing, no matter who we're talking to. And so this just kind of gives us another platform to do that.
Wonderful. And finally, how can our audience reach you? How can they connect to you?
Multiple ways. So right now, Facebook is the best way, Vanessa Windsor. I'm going to put my email down below, which is really easy. It's vanessawindsor@icloud.com. That allows me to connect with you. It allows us to make that initial connection, and then we can send a phone call, no matter what it is, whatever you're interested in. I always love to just connect with you, and I'm really all about the phone calls. I know it's old school. 10 minutes of time, you'll know my name, you'll know my face, you'll know what I'm about, and I get to know a little bit about you. So that's really the best way, is through email. Let's set up a power call.
I love that. I'm the same way. Listen, I'm all about the new school, but I believe you can't do it alone. You need to mix in new school with old school, because it is about that connection. It is about hearing that person's voice, really knowing if you like them, trust them, whether you have that rapport. And so I'm so excited to know that you do that, just like me. We love technology, but we want to hear your voice. We want to connect with you, because this is not just something we do for a living. We really are about helping you go. And hey, Karen, hey! Karen,
hey,
just the co-founder of the organization, the Passion Project. So we are so glad that you were able to come on in. Thank you so much for those watching in replay. Don't forget that we appreciate you, and please share this out also. Now, until next time, you guys know that we're going to be here all month long. I think next week we will be here also. It will not be pre-recorded because Tuesday, the 26th, I believe the date is. So the radio station will be here. Engineering will be here. So we will see you next week. Even though it's just after Christmas, we're going to have another Shop Small partner here to really put a spotlight on their business. Vanessa, I want to thank you so much for your time. And of course, if you would like to connect with me, I am Ann Charlius of Shero Rising. You can always text the word Shero. That's SHERO. Once again, that's SHERO to the number 77948. That's 77948. As far as social media, I am on all social media. Periscope, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter. We're on all of it as Shero Rising. SHERO, second word RISING. I am personally geared up, and I didn't share what my goals are for 2018, but I am geared up to travel more and to do more speaking engagements. But I'm also geared up to finally slay my financial goal and my fitness and health goals. Listen, I don't know what to do, Vanessa.
One day at a time.
That's true. That's true. That's true, but this time I'm going to do it different. I'm going to set my personal goals first, because oftentimes I put business first, and I can't do that anymore. Not good for me. So it was a pleasure speaking to you. You have a great week. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and enjoy NYC. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, Ann. Thank you.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly